Chapter 85. The mighty steel torrent surged forward like a black tide. At a glance, the entire horizon seemed to have been drowned in silhouettes. The generals of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird did not need to look to know who they were. The combined forces of Azure Dragon, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise were definitely more than 10 times that of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. There were at least 1,000,000 troops. The sheer number of troops alone was enough to completely crush the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, which only had 100,000 troops. In terms of high-level powerhouses, the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird was still completely crushed. The king of Vermilion Bird was still in closed-door training. The 3 kings of the allied forces were all saints. Not to mention, there was also a mysterious force that was helping the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. If that force were to make a move, the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird would be in grave danger and could collapse at any time. No matter how much Bayur wanted to resist, she could not help but feel despair when she saw the endless army. Rumble! On the distant horizon, an army of about 200,000 troops was marching toward them. It's the army of the ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise. A middle-aged man in fiery red armor from the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird said. He was the general of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, a virtual god powerhouse. The level after the divine fire realm was the virtual god realm. However, on such a battlefield, even a virtual god powerhouse would not be able to turn the tide. After all, the virtual god realm was still a long way from being a sage to be, let alone a saint. What are the ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise trying to do? Bayur's eyes flashed. A general in front of the ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise spoke. Ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, I am the general of the ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise. Let me give you a suggestion. Lay down your weapons and surrender, and you can avoid a futile slaughter. Ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise, why did you submit to the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon? Bayur could not help but ask. That was also her biggest doubt. Even if an ancient kingdom was defeated, it would not have surrendered so easily. The general of the ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise snorted and said, The one we submitted to is the young master. His identity and background is not something that anyone would know. Bayur, the young master personally appointed you. Surrender and become the young master's concubine and surrender, and the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird's safety. The general of the ancient kingdom of Black Tortoise. What? Bayur was to be shocked by the general of the kingdom of Black Tortoise. What shocked her the most was who that young master was to be able to casually suppress the 3 nations. What made her angry was that the young master actually wanted to take her as a concubine. This caused Bayur's charming face to turn icy cold. The general of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, who was at the side, shouted coldly, Insolence! The princess of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird will not become someone's concubine so easily. Everyone from the ancient kingdom of Phoenix was filled with righteous indignation. This is an insult to the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. Humph, it's your fortune to be able to become the young master's concubine. If you resist, blood will flow like a river. The general of the Black Tortoise ancient country said coldly. I'm with the Son of God of the June family. Aren't you afraid of offending the Son of God and being destroyed by the June family in the future? Bayur rebuked coldly. The general's expression changed when he heard this. After all, the reputation of the June family and the Son of God of the June family was too great. If the June family wanted to destroy the Black Tortoise ancient kingdom, it would be a piece of cake. Even if the 4 quadrants ancient countries were to join forces, they would still be no match for the June family. However, the general calmed down when he thought of how powerful the young master was. He sneered and said, Princess of the Vermilion Bird, don't try to bluff. Why would the Son of God of the June family care about a nobody like you? If he did, he would have come to your aid a long time ago. Besides, even if you are related to the Son of God of the June family, that young master is still not afraid. The words of the general of the Black Tortoise ancient country slightly hurt Bai Yuer's heart. Indeed, to Jun Xiaoyao she was nothing more than a dispensable pawn. Even if she were to fall, Jun Xiaoyao would probably not care. But, just because the Son of God doesn't care about me doesn't mean that I don't care about the Son of God. I promised to serve the Son of God for the rest of my life. How can I become someone's concubine? Bai Yuer's eyes were filled with determination. You want me to become that young master's concubine? Impossible. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Bai Yuer pointed her sword at the sky, showing off her sharpness. Sigh, what a shame. Black Tortoise Army, heed my command. Charge. The general of the Black Tortoise ancient country ordered. The 200,000 soldiers of the Black Tortoise ancient country moved in unison. Generals, heed my command. Protect our ancient country. Charge. Bai Yuer also shouted. Rumble. The armies of the two nations collided like torrents, instantly entangling each other. Broken limbs were sent flying and blood splattered everywhere. Shouts, screams, and sounds of killing intertwined to form a bloody picture. The 200,000 soldiers of the Black Tortoise ancient country were like unstoppable steel beasts. The 100,000 soldiers of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird tried their best to resist, but the front line was pushed back. Over the years, the ancient country of Vermilion Bird had been reduced to the bottom of the four ancient nations. Their military equipment and combat power were not as good as the other three ancient nations. Not to mention, they had a crushing advantage in terms of numbers. Under such circumstances, how could the ancient country of Vermilion Bird win? The general of the Black Tortoise ancient country waved his hand and shouted, Generals, heed my command. Capture the princess of Vermilion Bird, Bai Yuer alive. Bai Yuer was hand-picked by that young master. There was no way they would let her go. Protect the princess. The general of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird shouted. A group of generals rushed forward and fought with the generals of the Black Tortoise ancient country. One by one, the generals of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird fell. They were still outnumbered by the Black Tortoise ancient country. Everyone. Bai Yuer felt as if a knife was being twisted in her heart. These generals had all died because of her. Humph, how troublesome. Can't you guys even capture a woman? At that moment, a cold snort exploded in the void. The might of a saint spread out. On the side of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird, all the generals and soldiers trembled and felt suffocated. A figure in a black imperial robe appeared in the sky. It was the Black Tortoise Emperor. We're done for. When the Black Tortoise Emperor appeared, everyone from the ancient country of Vermilion Bird looked like they were about to die. Even a saint had appeared. How were they going to fight this battle? Bai Yuer's heart was filled with despair. Against a saint, she could not even resist or kill herself. How can someone who is wanted by the young master run away? Get over here. The Black Tortoise Emperor extended his hand and grabbed. A giant hand condensed into magic power and grabbed at Bai Yuer. At that critical moment, a long howl was heard from the depths of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird. Terrifying flames rose into the air, as if a vermilion bird had been formed. A figure in a red imperial robe broke out of his seclusion, stepping on the flames in the sky. Who dares to invade the ancient country of Vermilion Bird? The one who broke out of his seclusion was none other than the Vermilion Bird Emperor. It's His Majesty. He has broken through to the saint stage. When they saw the Vermilion Bird Emperor appear, all the generals of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird cried out in joy. Bai Yuer looked extremely surprised, as if she had found a way out of a hopeless situation. The Vermilion Bird Emperor crushed that giant hand of magic power with a single palm. Seeing that, the people of the ancient country of Vermilion Bird were even more convinced that the Vermilion Bird Emperor was a saint. There was finally hope for their ancient country of Vermilion Bird. However, before Bai Yuer and the generals could rejoice on the horizon, the remaining army surged like a black tide. At the same time, two more saint auras erupted. They were the Azure Dragon Emperor and the White Tiger Emperor. At that moment, even the Vermilion Bird Emperor's expression changed. Even if he had broken through to the saint stage, there was nothing he could do against three saints. The flame of hope that had just risen in Bai Yuer's heart was extinguished again. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. What could be crueler than going from despair to hope, and then back to despair? Does the heavens want the ancient country of Vermilion Bird to be destroyed? Bai Yuer bit her lip until it bled. The full text. Chapter 86. In the distance, the rest of the army gathered. It was a dark mass that made one's scalp tingle. At the same time, two figures stepped through the air, both emanating the aura of saints. They were the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country and the Emperor of White Tiger Country. Including the Emperor of Black Tortoise, there were three saints standing in the air, facing off against the Emperor of Vermilion Bird. The Emperor of Vermilion Bird's expression changed drastically. He had just broken through to the Saint Plane and was in high spirits, but he did not expect to see the three nations attacking the city. What surprised him even more was that the three ancient nations, which should have been impossible to unite, had joined forces to attack the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. "Father!" Below, Bai Yuer sent a telepathic message, briefly explaining what had happened during this time. "I see." The Emperor of Vermilion Bird's eyes trembled slightly. It was obvious that the young master had a very powerful background. Otherwise, there was no way he could have suppressed the three ancient nations to such an extent. More importantly, the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird was unable to stop the million-strong army. There was no way he could take on the three emperors, not to mention that the young master's mysterious force was probably monitoring everything behind the scenes, ready to make a move. Under such circumstances, even if the Emperor of Vermilion Bird had broken through to the Saint Plane, there was nothing he could do. "Emperor of Vermilion Bird, I didn't expect you to not only recover from your injuries, but also break through to the Saint Plane." The Emperor of Azure Dragon Country sounded surprised. Because the news was sealed, the Emperor of Azure Dragon and the others only knew about it now. "I didn't expect the great Emperor of Azure Dragon Country to become someone's dog," the Emperor of Vermilion Bird said with a gloomy expression. "A wise man submits to circumstances. Before that young master, you are nothing but a mantis trying to stop a chariot," the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country sneered. "Then you should know that the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird has long been subservient to someone," the Emperor of Vermilion Bird said coldly. "Oh, who is it?" The Emperor of Azure Dragon Country frowned slightly. "The son of God of the June family," the Emperor of Vermilion Bird said. As soon as he said that, the allied forces of the three ancient nations quieted down. It was as if the words, "the son of God of the June family," had a strange power. The Emperor of the Azure Dragon Country narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "Are you trying to pull the wool over my eyes again? Why would the Son of God of the June family care about a mere ancient kingdom of Phoenix?" "Suit yourself. But if you don't believe me, you'll regret it," the Vermilion Bird King said coldly. "Even if it's true, we still have the young master behind us. Don't use the Son of God of the June family to pressure us." The Azure Dragon King's face darkened. Xiao Chun had been crippled by Jun Xiaoyao before, so the Azure Dragon King naturally didn't have a good impression of Jun Xiaoyao. "There's no need to say anything else. Let's storm the ancient kingdom of Phoenix and capture Bai Yuer alive." The Emperor of the Azure Dragon Kingdom gave the order, and the million-strong army attacked again. It was like a torrent that broke through everything, crushing the army of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix. The White Tiger ruler and the Black Tortoise ruler joined forces to suppress the Vermilion Bird ruler. The Azure Dragon King reached out to grab Bai Yuer. "Your Highness, be careful." The great general of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix blasted Bai Yuer away before being reduced to a bloody pulp by the giant palm made of magic. "General!" Bai Yuer's heart was bleeding. "Your Highness, run. We'll hold them off." Many generals stood before the Emperor of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. "Ants!" The Emperor of the Azure Dragon Kingdom waved his hand, and one figure after another exploded. The might of a saint was unstoppable. In the sky, the Vermilion Bird King was forced to retreat, coughing up blood at the corner of his mouth. He had just broken through to the saint stage, after all. His level was still unstable, and he was being attacked by two saints. It didn't take long for the Vermilion Bird King to be forced to retreat, spitting blood. Below, the 100,000-strong army of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix was being slaughtered. The impact of a 1,000,000-strong army was terrifying. The 100,000-strong army of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix was reduced to only 30,000 to 40,000 in just 15 minutes. The army was being crushed. The Vermilion Bird King, who had high-end combat power, was severely injured. Those generals were all killed by the Emperor of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Is the ancient kingdom of Phoenix really done for? At that moment, Bai Yu's heart was filled with despair. Surrender. The Emperor of the Azure Dragon Kingdom looked indifferent and was about to reach out with his hand. Bai Yu closed her eyes, and tears fell from the corner of her eyes. At that moment, the world seemed to have gone silent for a moment. All sound seemed to have been lost. In this silence, an incomparably cold and indifferent voice sounded. How dare you touch the people of the Son of God? Are you tired of living, Emperor of the Azure Dragon Kingdom? The cold voice seemed to have come from the netherworld. The entire battlefield fell into a dead silence, as if it had frozen. Those words seemed to be echoing in the ears of the 1,000,000-strong army. Who was it who dared to speak to a saint in such a tone? When Bai Yu heard that voice, her petite body trembled. Then, she opened her eyes abruptly and looked into the distance. In the distant sky, a terrifying sound of tremors was heard, and the clouds dispersed. 4 terrifying armies with murderous auras appeared. Banners fluttered in the wind, blades were sharp, war chariots roared, and divine steeds neighed. The murderous aura shot up to the 9 heavens and down to the 9 hells. The terrifying murderous aura emanating from the 4 armies even made the 1,000,000-strong army below feel a chill in their hearts, as if they had fallen into an ice cave. In front of the 4 armies, a majestic 9-headed lion that looked like it was made of gold roared at the sky. The terrifying sound waves of the lion's roar reverberated in all directions, sending chills down everyone's spine. On the golden war chariot pulled by the 9-headed lion, a figure shrouded in a hazy divine light stood with his hands behind his back. His expression was indifferent, as if he was the son of a god. A cold and domineering voice came from his mouth. The ancient kingdom of Phoenix belongs to the Son of God. Whoever dares to touch it again will be executed without mercy. That one sentence made the world change color, and an unprecedented murderous aura filled the air. The wind shadow guards of the June family, heed my command. The royal guards of the June family, heed my command. The fire cavalry of the June family, heed my command. The divine guards of the June family, heed my command. The 4 divine guards of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain guards shouted in unison and descended from the sky. A rumbling sound was heard, and the entire earth seemed to tremble 3 times. There were only 40,000 soldiers, but they made the 1,000,000-strong army of the 3 ancient nations go pale and terrified. Those are the wind, forest, fire, and mountain guards of the June family. Oh my God, it's the June family's army. The June family is here. When the soldiers of the 3 ancient nations saw the word June on the banner, their faces went pale and they looked terrified. After all, the June family's power was too great. The wind, forest, fire, and mountain guards were also the June family's top troops, and their deterrence was off the charts. It's the June family. The Emperor of the Azure Dragon Country and the others looked shocked as well. Jun Xiaoyao's words made the Emperor of the Azure Dragon Country's expression even worse. On the side of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix, everyone was shocked, stunned, and in disbelief. In the end, they all looked ecstatic and exhilarated. It's the June family. The Son of God of the June family is here to save us. An old minister of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix cried tears of joy. Bai Yu-er's body trembled, and she covered her red lips with her jade-like hands. She was so emotional that tears kept falling from her eyes. The figure that she had been thinking about day and night had finally appeared. He was still wearing a robe whiter than snow, and he still looked so otherworldly. At that moment, Jun Xiaoyao looked like the savior of the world. He was the only god in Bai Yu-er's heart. The entire book. Chapter 87. The nine-headed lion pulled the golden chariot in the sky. Jun Xiaoyao, dressed in white, stood on top of the chariot with his hands behind his back. His robe billowed in the wind, making him look like a god who ruled over the world. At that moment, Bai Yu-er and the people of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix looked at Jun Xiaoyao with extreme excitement and fanaticism in their eyes, as if they were looking at a savior of the world. Aside from the 3 layers of snow, no one else in the world was worthy of wearing white. Jun Xiaoyao was their god. How is this possible? Why would the Jun family come? The faces of the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country, the Emperor of White Tiger Country, and the Emperor of Black Tortoise Country were slightly pale. Although they were saints who were high and mighty, they were still intimidated when facing a behemoth like the Jun family. Even supreme beings would be extremely wary of the Jun family, let alone saints. At that moment, although they did not see any saints of the Jun family arrive, Jun Xiaoyao alone was enough to intimidate them. Jun Xiaoyao was not a saint, but his deterrence was more powerful than a saint's. That was because going against Jun Xiaoyao was basically going against the Jun family. How many people dared to mess with the Jun family of the ancients? Lord Son of God! Bai Yu-er and the others gazed at Jun Xiaoyao with joy in their hearts. The Son of God is finally here. The Emperor of Phoenix, who was in the sky, secretly breathed a sigh of relief. At first, the Emperor of Phoenix still felt a little uncomfortable about the ancient kingdom of Phoenix surrendering to Jun Xiaoyao. But now that feeling was completely gone. In the end, it was still Jun Xiaoyao's turn to save the ancient kingdom of Phoenix. Jun Xiaoyao lowered his eyes slightly and looked down at the army of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix, which was only left with tens of thousands of people. He waved his hand slightly. The 4 armies of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain immediately received the order. They seemed to have turned into 4 torrents that could pierce through everything, charging at the allied army of the 3 nations. It was hard to imagine that an army of only 40,000 people could go against an army of 1,000,000. However, the result left everyone speechless. The army of 1,000,000 was unable to stop the 4 armies at all. In front of the wind, forest, fire, mountain, these alliance army troops couldn't even take a single hit. In just a few collisions, the allied army of the 3 countries had already lost more than 100,000 people. This was simply terrifying, making one tremble in fear. The 4 guards of the Jun family are too strong. Demons, they are demons. Run! The soldiers in all directions were terrified. The 1,000,000-strong army was utterly defeated. The surviving soldiers of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, on the other hand, let out furious roars and began to retaliate. Up in the sky, the Azure Dragon King and the others were dumbfounded. They hadn't expected the Jun family's army to be so strong. With just 40,000 people, their 1,000,000-strong army collapsed in an instant. Jun family's son of God, what exactly do you want? The Emperor of Azure Dragon Country asked in a heavy tone. How is it? It's simple. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. Then, he raised his eyebrows and said with a cold look in his eyes, either you retreat or I'll exterminate your entire clan. His words were like a sudden clap of thunder. The 1,000,000 people were all astonished. Shouldn't such words be uttered by an emperor like the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country? However, when those words came out of Jun Xiaoyao's mouth, no one felt the slightest bit out of place. How could the status of the son of God of the Jun family be compared to that of an emperor of a mere country? Jun Xiaoyao, you. The Emperor of Azure Dragon Country's face turned pale. The aura of a saint burst out of him uncontrollably. I, the Son of God, am standing right here. I'll let you make your move. Do you dare? Jun Xiaoyao flicked his sleeves and stepped into the air, standing opposite the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country. He was only at the Consolidation Realm, but he showed no fear when facing the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country, who was a saint. His aura even gave people the feeling that Jun Xiaoyao was the Emperor, and the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country was the subject. So, this is the might of the Son of God of the Jun family? Below, everyone from the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird was so excited that they trembled. Bai Yu-er's beautiful scarlet eyes were filled with intense worship and fanaticism. Jun Xiaoyao, don't go overboard. We have the young master behind us. He told us to do this, the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country said in a serious tone. He did not dare to go up against the Jun family himself, so he could only use the name of the young master behind him. Oh! Jun Xiaoyao's gaze sharpened. He had long guessed that there might be someone else behind the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. Now, it seemed that he was right. Furthermore, to be able to tame the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country and the others into submission, that young master's identity and background must be very shocking. However, Jun Xiaoyao had no reason to be afraid. No matter how great his identity and background were, could he beat him? I don't care who's behind you. No one can withstand the wrath of the Son of God. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed coldly. He then raised his hand and used his fingers as a sword. Vast sword aura gushed out, and vigorous sword will surged. A dazzling sword aura accompanied by countless shadows of deities swept down from Jun Xiaoyao's hand. The sword aura shocked the world. It was the first move of the Immortal Slayer's sword art, falling immortal. Rumble! A sword aura tens of thousands of feet long fell from the sky and smashed into the million-strong army. In an instant, blood splattered and countless screams were heard. Tens of thousands of soldiers were killed by a single slash. The allied army of the three countries, who were already in a state of panic after being slaughtered by the four armies, collapsed and fled in all directions. Seeing this, the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country was burning with rage. He almost couldn't help but attack. However, when he thought of the consequences of attacking Jun Xiaoyao, he suppressed his urge. Retreat! The Emperor of Azure Dragon Country looked conflicted, but he still gave the order. If this dragged on, who knew how many of the million-strong army would be left? He did not dare to do anything to Jun Xiaoyao, so he could only retreat for the time being and let the young master make the decision. If the young master made a move himself, the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country would not have to bear the wrath of the Jun family. Hearing the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country's order to retreat, the Emperor of White Tiger Country and the Emperor of Black Tortoise Country retreated as well. The million-strong army was reduced to 600,000 in a short amount of time, and they fled like stray dogs. In just a few moments, the mighty allied army of the three countries was nowhere to be seen. Jun Xiaoyao watched the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country and the others retreat, but he did not continue to pressure them. That was because the Emperor of Azure Dragon Country and the others were not the most important thing. The most important thing was the young master behind them. What was his goal in unifying the four great ancient countries? Was it purely to make them his own forces? It was because he wanted to find out the answer to his doubts that Jun Xiaoyao chose to cast a long line to catch a big fish. The surviving generals and soldiers of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird all had joy on their faces after surviving a disaster. They looked at Jun Xiaoyao with deep gratitude in their eyes. Without Jun Xiaoyao, the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird would have either been destroyed or surrendered. In the sky, the Emperor of Vermilion Bird bowed deeply to Jun Xiaoyao and said, "Thank you, Son of God, for your help. If it were not for the Son of God, the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird would have been in danger today." Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand slightly and said, "The ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird is my force. Naturally, I would not watch it be destroyed. Lord Son of God, Bai Yuer bowed deeply to Jun Xiaoyao as well. Don't be too happy just yet. The young master behind them will not let this go easily, Jun Xiaoyao said. The entire book. Chapter 88. The King of Vermilion Bird's expression turned very serious when he heard that. To be able to make the three ancient nations submit and possess such terrifying forces, that young master's background was obviously not low. However, the thought of Jun Xiaoyao calmed the King of Vermilion Bird down. No matter how high that young master's background was, could he compare to Jun Xiaoyao? No matter how powerful the forces behind him were, could they compare to the Jun family of the ancients? That was why the King of Vermilion Bird was not worried at all. All right, let's head back to the palace. I have something to ask you all, Jun Xiaoyao said. On the one hand, he wanted to check in at the palace of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. On the other hand, he wanted to ask some questions. Yes, son of God. This way, please. The King of Vermilion Bird personally led the way. Jun Xiaoyao stepped onto the golden chariot and followed behind. Sigh, I was just warming up and it's already over, Jun Zhangjian said as he twisted his wrist. Those sequences had also joined the battle just now. It won't be over so easily. I'm afraid they'll be back in a few days, Jun Linglong said. She had Linglong's heart in her, which made her smart enough to know that the young master behind the three ancient nations would not let things go just like that. So what if they're back? What can they do in front of the young master? Jun Wanjie sneered. In front of the Jun family of the ancients, even a dragon would have to coil up and a tiger would have to lie down. Jun Xiaoyao then entered the imperial city. Every citizen of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird knelt and kowtowed to Jun Xiaoyao. Countless cheers and praises for Jun Xiaoyao were heard everywhere. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was very calm. Those people saw him as a savior and a kind saint. In reality, he was just trying to protect a chess piece in his hand. But then again, it would be a waste not to have such a good reputation. After all, many geniuses were already saying that Jun Xiaoyao was the devil. Jun Xiaoyao also had to shape his image a little. He was no devil. At best, he just liked to harvest leek. As soon as Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the royal palace of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, the sound of a system notification rang in his head. Ding, you have arrived at the imperial palace of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. Do you wish to sign in? Sign in, Jun Xiaoyao said silently. Ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining a 4-star reward, Ancient Saint Weapon, Guqin, Phoenix Cry Mountain. Jun Xiaoyao sensed it right away as soon as the system finished speaking. Within his spatial artifact, a scarlet and gold-plated zither appeared. The entire zither had a slender shape, and its surface was engraved with the pattern of a phoenix mountain and water. The dark gold edges made it look low-key and luxurious. The 7 strings of the zither were all the color of red crystals. They looked extremely gorgeous and dazzling. It's actually a zither. Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. Did the system want him to cultivate his body and mind? However, this Guqin was a rare ancient sacred armament. It was not an ordinary item. Most sages would only use ancient sacred weapons. Moreover, the purpose of this Phoenix Cry Chi Mountain was obviously not just for pleasure. Jun Xiaoyao's mysterious protector had turned the sound of the zither into a killing blade that could easily injure sages. Therefore, this Phoenix Cry Mountain Guqin was not to be underestimated, even if it was used as a weapon. Not bad, Jun Xiaoyao said to himself. He had just signed in casually, and the system had given him an ancient sacred armament for free. Seems like I can play the zither when I'm free in the future. It's a good thing that I've heard some famous songs in my past life, so I haven't forgotten them, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Son of God, what's the matter? The King of Vermilion Bird saw Jun Xiaoyao standing still and could not help but ask. Nothing. Let's go, Jun Xiaoyao said. After that, the King of Vermilion Bird led Jun Xiaoyao to a luxurious building. Jun Xiaoyao let Jun Zhangjian and the others rest. Only Jun Xiaoyao, the king of Vermilion Bird, and Bai Yuer were left in the building. Jun Xiaoyao said, "I have something to ask you." "Son of God, please go ahead," the king of Vermilion Bird said respectfully. "Is there any secret history of the four ancient nations?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. The king of Vermilion Bird thought for a moment and said, "To be honest, according to historical records, the predecessor of our four ancient nations was an ancient dynasty that was close to an immortal force called the Four Symbols Ancient Nation. The founder of the Four Symbols Ancient Nation was a supreme honorable Four Symbols. The founders of our four ancient nations, Master Azure Dragon, Master White Tiger, Master Vermilion Bird, and Master Black Tortoise, were the four disciples of the Supreme Honorable Four Symbols. The King of Vermilion Bird's explanation made Jun Xiaoyao raise his eyebrows slightly. He didn't expect the four ancient nations to have such a history. If that's the case, the Azure Dragon King's goal should be to unify the four ancient nations and make them the Four Symbols Ancient Nation again. Then, he'll be the ruler. Jun Xiaoyao guessed. But what's the purpose of the young master behind him? Is it just to control the Four Symbols Ancient Nation? Jun Xiaoyao was puzzled. Bai Yuer bit her lip and said, "Lord Son of God, Yuer has a guess." "Oh, let's hear it," Jun Xiaoyao said. Yuer thinks that the young master behind them wants to collect all the bronze compass parts of the four ancient nations, Bai Yuer said. Bronze compass parts? Jun Xiaoyao was puzzled. The king of Vermilion Bird explained. It turned out that the Supreme Honorable Four Symbols, who founded the Four Symbols Ancient Nation, had come across a bronze compass by chance. The bronze compass was related to a great secret. Later on, this news was somehow leaked. Many powerhouses wanted to fight for the compass in the hands of the Supreme Honorable Four Symbols. The Supreme Honorable Four Symbols was besieged and severely injured. He secretly divided the bronze compass into four parts and gave them to his four disciples, who were Master Blue Dragon and the others. Later on, his four disciples each founded their own nation, which became the four ancient nations today. The quarter of the bronze compass parts became an antique passed down from generation to generation in the four ancient nations. "Let me see that part," Jun Xiaoyao said calmly. The king of Vermilion Bird nodded respectfully. If it were anyone else, the king of Vermilion Bird would have slapped them if they dared to covet the bronze compass parts. But since Jun Xiaoyao had asked, he took it out without hesitation. When Jun Xiaoyao saw the part, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. He realized that the bronze compass parts were made of the same material as the bronze fragment in the wooden box. And the bronze fragment was related to one of the seven wonders, the Bronze Immortal Palace. I see. I understand now. No wonder the Supreme Honorable Four Symbols was besieged. This bronze compass is related to a great secret. It's the Bronze Immortal Palace. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. This was definitely a great secret. He now knew what the young master's goal was. He must have known that the bronze compass was related to the Bronze Immortal Palace. "This compass is interesting," Jun Xiaoyao said as he fiddled with it. The king of Vermilion Bird observed his expression and immediately said, "Since the Son of God likes it, I'll give it to the Son of God." Jun Xiaoyao nodded in satisfaction. The king of Vermilion Bird was quite tactful. The other three parts must be in the hands of that young master. Now, even if he doesn't come looking for trouble, this Son of God will find trouble with him. Jun Xiaoyao revealed his usual smile. But Jun Zhangjian and the others, who were familiar with this smile, knew. This smile meant that Jun Xiaoyao was about to start harvesting leeks again. The Complete Book. Chapter 89. There was a city thousands of miles away from the imperial capital of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix. The city had been taken over by the allied forces of the three ancient nations, at the moment in a luxurious palace at the center of the city. On the ground, the corpses of several dancers were strewn all over the place. The rulers of the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise nations stood with their hands at their sides. A cold and furious voice was heard from the bed's curtains right above them. You failed. Your million-strong allied forces can't even take down a puny ancient kingdom of Phoenix. You didn't bring me the compass parts, and you didn't even bring Bai Yu. Are you all trash that only knows how to eat sh*t? That voice was incomparably furious and carried a chilling intent. The ruler of the Azure Dragon Nation and the others lowered their heads and remained silent. They had long gotten used to the young master's temperamental, manic, and violent personality. The ruler of the White Tiger Nation and the ruler of the Black Tortoise Nation were both furious at being scolded in such a manner. They gritted their teeth. However, when they saw the 4 dark figures standing around them, the anger in their hearts turned into helplessness. The son of God of the Jun family, Jun Xiaoyao. Heh, do you really think you're some big shot? The voice was cold and harsh. Jun Xiaoyao's status and strength were indeed something that few could match. However, that did not mean that no one could compete with him. Although the Jun family was extremely prosperous and glorious, it was still impossible for them to control the entire mystic realm. The young master did not believe in such a thing. Pass down my order. Reorganize the army. I will lead the army in 3 days. Let's see if the son of God of the Jun family will give me face. The voice shouted coldly. Yes, sir. The ruler of the Azure Dragon Nation and the others cupped their hands and left the hall. As long as the last part is collected, we will have the complete bronze compass. It will be very helpful in exploring the bronze mystic palace. No one is allowed to get in my way, not even the son of God of the Jun family. Late at night, in a luxurious building in the imperial palace of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix, the melodious sound of the zither drifted out from the pavilion. It made one feel relaxed and happy, as if they had ascended to a higher level. Inside the pavilion, Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged on the bed. The Phoenix Cry Chishan zither was placed on his lap. His fair and slender fingers plucked the 7 strings, and the sound of the zither was leisurely. This song was one of the top 10 ancient zither songs that Jun Xiaoyao had heard in his previous life, High Mountain and Flowing Water. Listening to it, one's restless emotions seemed to have been soothed. Jun Xiaoyao didn't take this so-called young master to heart at all, appearing very leisurely. When Jun Xiaoyao was playing the zither, he also vaguely felt a faint fluctuation of spirit. Is it my mysterious guardian? Jun Xiaoyao murmured. His Tao protector also seemed to use zither music as a means of attack. At this moment, when she heard Jun Xiaoyao playing the zither, she couldn't help but reveal a trace of emotion. After the zither song ended, the mysterious protector still did not show himself. However, there was a knock on the door. Come in, Jun Xiaoyao said calmly. Dressed in a red gauze dress, Bai Yu walked in with a cup of tea. Son of God, please have some tea, Bai Yu said in an obedient tone. It wasn't easy for her to get the opportunity to serve tea for Jun Xiaoyao from Jun Linglong. Bai Yu served the tea while secretly sneaking glances at Jun Xiaoyao. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao, who was playing the zither, had a different temperament, which made him look even more otherworldly. Any woman would probably fall for him and be unable to extricate herself just by looking at him. Jun Xiaoyao put away the Phoenix Cry Chishan zither and took the tea. He took a sip. He glanced at Bai Yu and suddenly noticed that the red gauze dress she was wearing now seemed a little transparent. Her snow-white skin was faintly discernible. There was a faint hint of charm and seduction. Jun Xiaoyao ignored her and continued to drink his tea. Bai Yu bit her lip slightly and said, Son of God, the ancient kingdom of Phoenix has a special feature. It's called the Phoenix Spirit Spring. Bathing in it not only relaxes the mind but also promotes the smoothness of the blood vessels in the body. Would you like to give it a try, Son of God? Sure. Jun Xiaoyao nodded. Isn't this a hot spring? Bai Yu looked delighted and led Jun Xiaoyao to the Phoenix Spirit Spring. There was a spring in the depths of the palace, which was gurgling with warm spirit qi. The dense spirit qi made it look like a fairyland. Son of God, let me serve you, Bai Yu said. Jun Xiaoyao didn't refuse. He should still enjoy what he had to. There was probably no one in the ancient kingdom of Phoenix who could enjoy being served by the princess. Bai Yuer took off Jun Xiaoyao's robe. In an instant, Jun Xiaoyao's fair and well-proportioned upper body, which looked like it was carved out of immortal jade, was revealed to Bai Yuer. Bai Yuer swallowed hard. She clamped her legs together. Jun Xiaoyao entered the Phoenix Spirit Spring and breathed a long sigh of relief. This hot spring was really good. Bai Yuer was in a strange state. Her face was abnormally flushed, and her hands were trembling slightly as she massaged Jun Xiaoyao's shoulders. Jun Xiaoyao noticed and thought to himself, "Is she in heat? Lord Son of God." Bai Yuer's voice trembled slightly, and her scarlet eyes were watery. She was simply too greedy for Jun Xiaoyao's body. Jun Xiaoyao closed his eyes and said indifferently, "Remember your status and don't overstep the rules." Jun Xiaoyao's words were like a bucket of cold water that instantly woke Bai Yuer up. Indeed, she was only Jun Xiaoyao's slave, and her status did not match at all. Jun Xiaoyao was a man she could not have. "I'm sorry, Lord Son of God, I've been rude." Bai Yuer bit her lip, and her heart was filled with bitterness. Jun Xiaoyao did not feel sorry for her. He was not a philanthropist, and he was not a stud horse who would go with the flow whenever he saw a woman. He had no problem with women. However, he had to be careful. Bai Yuer was only his slave and chess piece. How could she have the right to touch his body? She wanted to break Jun Xiaoyao's virginity? Not to mention a door, she did not even have a window. "Leave me alone for a while." Jun Xiaoyao's tone was cold as he closed his eyes to rest. Bai Yuer left with a gloomy expression. However, the admiration and infatuation in her eyes for Jun Xiaoyao did not diminish. Jun Xiaoyao had neglected a point. The more unobtainable something was, the more coveted it was. 3 days passed in a short span of 3 days. During this time, the entire ancient kingdom of Phoenix did not let down their guard. However, with Jun Xiaoyao and the 4 guards of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain guards holding the fort, the people of the ancient kingdom were obviously much more at ease. Jun Xiaoyao had been relaxing for the past few days. He was either playing the guqin or soaking in the hot springs. At this moment, Jun Linglong was making tea and serving him in the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. Jun Xiaoyao said casually, "If that guy still doesn't show up, I'm going to go look for him." That guy is probably wary of you, young master. However, I don't think he'll give up so easily." Jun Linglong chuckled. As expected, at this moment, Jun Xuehuang reported from outside, "Son of God, the allied forces of the 3 ancient kingdoms are marching toward the imperial capital again." "They're finally here? I've been waiting for a long time." Jun Xiaoyao got up and Jun Linglong thoughtfully helped him change into his clothes. Jun Xiaoyao, who was dressed in white and spotless, had a playful smile on his face. "Let me, the Son of God, see who this so-called young master is." The entire book. Chapter 90. Outside the imperial city of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix, the massive coalition army of the 3 ancient nations attacked once again. However, many of the soldiers still had some lingering fear on their faces. After all, they were already scared out of their wits last time by the 4 armies of the Jun family. However, despite the lingering fear in their hearts, the Alliance army did not panic too much. That was because they heard from their generals that there would be some big shots and mysterious forces helping them. Even if the Son of God of the Jun family showed up, he would not be able to stop the destruction of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix. On the other hand, the ancient kingdom of Phoenix was already prepared. Tens of thousands of soldiers of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix stood guard outside the imperial city. The king of Phoenix, Bai Yuer, and the others had also shown up. "Is Lord Son of God not here yet?" Bai Yuer asked the attendant beside her. "Your Highness, the news has already been sent." "He should be here soon," the attendant replied. "Very well." Bai Yuer nodded slightly. She would not feel at ease until she saw Jun Xiaoyao. On the other side, The coalition army of the three ancient nations had already approached the imperial city. 3 silhouettes appeared in the sky. They were none other than the kings of the azure dragon, the white tiger, and the black tortoise. However, what caught the attention of the king of Phoenix and the others was, in the void behind the 3 of them, there was actually an incomparably gorgeous bed that was carved out of gold floating in the air. That was right. It was an extremely spacious bed. There were dragon heads carved on the 4 corners of the bed. There were also gauze curtains covering the 4 sides of the bed. However, one could vaguely make out the silhouettes of many beautiful women. Even the Vermilion Bird King was rather taken aback by what he saw. Could it be that the mysterious young master mentioned by the Azure Dragon King was on that bed? But this was too strange. Who would refine a bed into a flying magic artifact? The King of Phoenix's expression froze at that thought. Could it be that person? The King of Phoenix's heart sank slightly. If it was as he speculated, then the situation would be dire. Even with the son of God of the June family backing him, it would be extremely troublesome. He, King of Phoenix, we meet again. The King of Azure Dragon chuckled. This time, however, he appeared to be very confident. It seems that you people still haven't given up on your evil intentions. Haven't you suffered enough last time? The Vermilion Bird King was equally unyielding. He had the support of the June family's son of God, so there was no need for him to be afraid of that mysterious young master. At this moment, a cold and arrogant voice sounded from the golden dragon bed. Vermilion Bird King, this marquis will give you one last chance. Submit to me, hand over that thing, and— the voice paused for a moment before continuing. Make princess by you or my concubine, said the marquis. His cold and arrogant tone resounded throughout heaven and earth. The faces of those from the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird flushed red with anger. The Vermilion Bird King's face was as cold as ice, but when he heard the mysterious man refer to himself as the Marquis, his heart sank. There was an 80 to 90% chance that it was that person. However, right at this moment, an even colder and more domineering voice sounded from the sky. You want this son of God's woman to become a concubine? Who do you think you are? Golden divine light burst from the depths of the imperial capital. It was a majestic 9-headed lion, pulling a golden chariot as it soared into the sky. A peerless figure stood on top of the chariot, looking like a white-robed deity. His might shook the universe. Behind him were Jun Zhanjian and the other 3, leading the 4 guards of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain. They were like 4 torrents that could destroy everything. The June family's son of God is here. That's a top-level far ancient royal creature, a 9-headed lion, and he's using it to pull a chariot? And the 4 guards of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain are here too. The allied forces of the 3 ancient kingdoms were in an uproar. After all, they were still traumatized. It was not just the 4 guards of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain. Jun Xiaoyao had killed tens of thousands of soldiers with a single slash of the Immortal Slayer's sword chant. Jun Xiaoyao stood in the sky above the imperial capital. The arrival of him and the 4 guards of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain calmed the hearts of those from the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. Bai Yu's eyes flashed with joy. Because Jun Xiaoyao said that he was the son of God's woman. That meant that she belonged to Jun Xiaoyao. Even if she was a female slave, she would be Jun Xiaoyao's female slave. Son of God. The king of Vermilion Bird cupped his hands at Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand and looked at the golden bed. He had some guesses. If he was not wrong, they were not far from the truth. The son of God of the June family is indeed as arrogant and condescending as the rumors say. A cold voice came from the golden bed. Jun Xiaoyao's reprimand just now made him extremely unhappy. However, he did not fly into a rage because of the son of God of the June family. It seems that you are the mastermind behind the 3 ancient kingdoms. Jun Xiaoyao stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly. Mastermind? Haha, I am just trying to subdue some affiliated forces, the voice said. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. That was obviously an excuse. His goal was the bronze compass passed down from the 4 ancient kingdoms. Subduing forces was just a cover-up. Moreover, he called himself the Marquis. Jun Xiaoyao was almost able to guess who that person was. The Son of God does not like people hiding in front of me. Show yourself. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. He formed a fist seal and threw a punch. He was at the late stage of the consolidation realm, which was much more powerful than when he was at the celestial bridge realm. It was the same move, but the power that burst out was completely different. A lifelike golden dragon wrapped around his fist and punched out. It was the dragon fist. Everyone only heard a dragon's roar as a long golden dragon soared through the sky, bombarding the golden dragon bed. Jun Xiaoyao did not add the power of the divine elephant overpowering force, but that punch was enough to shatter a 1,000-meter-tall mountain. Humph! A cold snort came from the golden bed. A palm stretched out, overflowing with magic power. It was as if it had turned into thousands of palms in an instant, slapping the void, causing the space to tremble slightly. Primordial chaos loose hands. It seems that it is him. Jun Wanjie's eyes flashed. Previously, he had more or less confirmed the identity of that person. Now that he had used the divine ability, his identity was completely exposed. Rumble. In the void, the two people's moves collided, setting off huge waves. Countless people below were speechless. Was this the battle of a consolidation realm prodigy? Why did it feel as terrifying as a saint? Violent waves of air swept in all directions, but Jun Xiaoyao's figure did not move at all. The golden bed, on the other hand, was shaken back, and the gauze curtain was torn and fluttered. Finally, the figure of the person inside was revealed. Many scantily clad beauties were directly shaken to death by this shockwave and fell on the bed in a disorderly manner. At the center of the bed was a young man with a jade crown on his head and a golden robe on his body. His appearance was plain and unremarkable, and there was nothing special about him. He stared at Jun Xiaoyao with a cold look on his face. "It is indeed you, Marquis Champion of the Jin dynasty of Panwu," Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. The whole book. Chapter 91. In actuality, Jun Xiaoyao had more or less guessed what had happened. The chaotic element loose hands, the way he addressed himself as a marquis, and the golden dragon bed. Other than the Marquis Champion of the Panwu Jin dynasty, Jun Xiaoyao could not think of anyone else. Speaking of the Marquis Champion, Yang Pan, his story was legendary. It was said that he used to be a horse-rearing manservant in a royal residence. He was of a lowly status, and had to endure the fickleness of human nature. However, one day, he picked up a divine sword by accident and rose to prominence. That divine sword was none other than the Panwu Jin dynasty's founder, the Panwu Great Emperor, one of the Panwu Three Swords, the Pan Huang Sword of Life. Yang Pan rose to prominence with the Pan Huang Sword of Life, collecting all kinds of opportunities and eventually becoming the Marquis Champion of the Panwu Jin dynasty. Many people of the Panwu Jin dynasty even believed that Yang Pan was the reincarnation of Great Emperor Panwu. Of course, this news was somewhat vague and had not been confirmed. Regardless, Yang Pan's honorable status in the Panwu Jin dynasty was undeniable. There was even news that the Jin dynasty's eldest princess, Wu Mingyue, had chosen Yang Pan as her son-in-law. This showed how much the Panwu Jin dynasty valued Yang Pan. Now, when the Marquis Champion revealed his identity, other than Jun Xiaoyao and a few others who had guessed it, everyone else was shocked. It really is him, the Marquis Champion, Yang Pan. The Vermilion Bird King took a deep breath, feeling very uneasy. This was definitely a top genius of the Huangtian mystic realm, and his strength was frighteningly strong. Most importantly, due to the fact that Yang Pan had risen from humble beginnings, and came from the very bottom, his temperament was extremely extreme. He was extremely arrogant, untamed and temperamental. It was like a citizen who won a 100 million lottery, and his ego would definitely be inflated. The Marquis Champion was such an inflated person. Bai Yuer's face turned pale, and she felt a lingering fear. She could not imagine what would have happened to her if Jun Xiaoyao did not come. She would not have had a good ending if she followed the Marquis Champion. His concubines were more than 3,000. This was the mentality of the nouveau riche at the bottom of society. In the past, he couldn't even dream of having beautiful women, but now, he would take them in whenever he saw one. The people of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix were not the only ones who were surprised. The White Tiger ruler and the Black Tortoise ruler were also surprised. However, when they thought about his temperamental personality, it made sense. No wonder it turns out to be the Marquis Champion of the Jin dynasty. The two monarchs sighed in their hearts. To be honest, the Marquis Champion was not a good master. They would rather have Jun Xiaoyao be their master than follow the Marquis Champion. Now that the mastermind behind the scenes of the three ancient nations had been exposed, the situation was instantly clear. Obviously, this was a contest between the Jun family's Son of God and the Jin dynasty's Marquis Champion. Jun Xiaoyao took a deep look at the Marquis of Champion as a strange glint flashed across his eyes. So that's how it is. His aura. Jun Xiaoyao murmured in his heart as he understood something. Jun family's Son of God, this is the first time we've met, but it's not a pleasant one. Yang Pan's tone was cold. There was a hint of jealousy in his eyes. Yes, jealousy. He was jealous of nothing else but Jun Xiaoyao's appearance. Yang Pan's looks were nothing out of the ordinary. Even Xiao Chen was far more handsome than him, let alone Jun Xiaoyao. Yang Pan's personality was narrow-minded and selfish. After he became the Marquis Champion from a lowly servant, his personality had not changed at all. Jun Xiaoyao glanced at the corpses lying on the golden dragon bed and sneered softly. So, you made such a big bed for a group exercise. What do you mean by that? Yang Pan narrowed his eyes slightly. I'm saying that a mere servant who keeps horses has the guts to steal peaches from the Son of God. Jun Xiaoyao's tone was cold and sarcastic. When Jun Xiaoyao took Bai Yuer as his slave, he had already planned to take over the four symbols' ancient nations. He did not expect the Marquis Champion to interfere. However, after hearing this, the entire battlefield fell into a dead silence. Being a servant who kept horses was an eternal humiliation in Yang Pan's heart. It was a past that could not be mentioned. After Yang Pan became the Marquis Champion, he directly killed the entire family of the prince that he used to stay in. There were hundreds of people in the mansion. Not a single one was left alive. Since then, no one dared to mention his past in front of Yang Pan. But now, Jun Xiaoyao calmly said that Yang Pan was a servant who kept horses. This was simply a sore spot in Yang Pan's heart. Jun Xiaoyao, you're courting death. Yang Pan's eyes were gloomy and his face was pale. He could not take it anymore and directly attacked. He pointed a finger, and his magic power surged and condensed into a giant red finger of magic power, which crushed toward Jun Xiaoyao. It was the divine ability of the Jin dynasty, the great Sun Divine Finger. Ha, who's the one courting death? You overconfident fool! Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent as he activated the divine elephant overpowering force. 100,000 granules of the giant elephant burst out, and his physical body was instantly reinforced with 1 billion pounds of divine power. The power was so overwhelming that it could shatter the sky with a punch. Jun Xiaoyao reached out and the spear of the underworld appeared. He threw it out and it seemed to pierce through the void. The spear of the underworld collided with the great Sun Divine Finger. It was like two giant stars colliding, and magic power rippled through the sky. In this collision, the great Sun Divine Finger was directly penetrated by the spear of the underworld Divine Finger, and then it continued to charge toward Yang Pan. Your strength! Yang Pan's expression changed. Previously, when Jun Xiaoyao reached the late stage of the consolidation realm, it was already enough to shock him. The power of Jun Xiaoyao's move at the moment was far beyond what he had expected. Heavenly Dipper God's Seal. Yang Pan hurriedly made another move. He formed a seal with both hands and pushed it out horizontally toward the spear of the underworld divine finger. However, the terrifying force of 1 billion pounds caused Yang Pan's expression to change drastically. Poochie! Yang Pan's body was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. The spear of the underworld divine finger landed on the golden dragon bed and shattered it. The scene fell into a dead silence. How is this possible? That's the Marquis of the Champion, Yang Pan. Many people were stunned and were petrified. How could the Marquis of the Champion of the immortal Jin dynasty be so weak? It's not that the Marquis of the Champion is weak, but that the son of God of the Jun family is too strong. A general of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix said with a fanatical look in his eyes. Everyone in the ancient kingdom of Phoenix worshipped Jun Xiaoyao to another level. The son of God of the Jun family was able to defeat even the Marquis of the Champion with ease. He was indeed an invincible existence among the younger generation. However, there were also people who looked doubtful. That Marquis of the Champion. Jun Wanjie focused his eyes and looked puzzled. He had fought with the Marquis of the Champion before, and even he felt a great deal of pressure. Jun Xiaoyao's current strength was unbelievably strong. However, no matter how weak the Marquis of the Champion was, there was no way he would be defeated so easily. Furthermore, the Marquis of the Champion still had his strongest trump card, which was the Pan Huang Sword of Life. Just as everyone was talking about it, Jun Xiaoyao pointed out the truth with a plain tone. Yang Pan, should I say that you're arrogant or stupid? You're just a clone, yet you have the courage to make a move against the Son of God. As soon as Jun Xiaoyao finished speaking, the faces of everyone present froze again. That Marquis of the Champion, Yang Pan, was just a clone? The whole thing. Chapter 92. While Yang Pan was being overpowered by Jun Xiaoyao when he fought earlier, the powerful aura he emanated was still frightening to behold. It could be said that ordinary geniuses from immortal forces would never be able to defeat Yang Pan. However, Jun Xiaoyao was now saying that the Yang Pan in front of him was just a clone. That was rather terrifying. If even his doppelganger had such strength, then how powerful was Yang Pan's main body? Jun Xiaoyao looked calm. The moment he saw Yang Pan, he knew that he was just a clone. But Jun Xiaoyao did not care about that. Be it a clone or a clone, they were all the same to him. He could suppress them as he pleased. There was not much difference. At most, he would only need to use a few more moves to suppress the real one. In the distance, Yang Pan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His face was extremely gloomy. He said coldly, "There is no need for the real one to take over the Four Quadrants ancient nation. I just didn't expect to run into you." Yang Pan was boiling with anger. He was indeed just a clone. Yang Pan's real one was still in the Jin dynasty. But in Yang Pan's opinion, even if it was just a clone, it was more than enough to take over the Four Quadrants ancient nation. He did not need to do it himself. But who would have thought that Jun Xiaoyao was behind the ancient kingdom of Phoenix? That was a huge variable that hindered Yang Pan's plan. Yang Pan took a deep breath and said coldly, "Jun Xiaoyao, since you know that I'm just a clone, you should know how powerful the real one is. If you stop now, there is still room for you to stay." Yang Pan knew that it was impossible for his clone to defeat Jun Xiaoyao. Therefore, he could only use his real one to suppress the other. "I don't care if you're just a clone or not. What difference does it make to me, the Son of God? I can crush you with one palm." Jun Xiaoyao put his hands behind his back and looked indifferent. "You?" Yang Pan raised his eyebrows. His eyes were filled with coldness. As expected of Lord Son of God. Bai Yuer and the others looked at him with admiration. How many people in the Huangtian mystic realm dared to look down on the marquis champion of the Jin dynasty? Fine, Jun Xiaoyao, you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, Yang Pan said. Around him, 4 pitch-black silhouettes materialized, carrying with them a suffocating amount of pressure. It's those 4 sages. The white tiger ruler and the black tortoise ruler's eyes were filled with fear. If it weren't for the 4 saints, the 2 countries wouldn't have been defeated so easily. Jun Xiaoyao glanced at them and shook his head slightly. 4 puppets comparable to the sage realm. Yang Pan, you're quite lucky. What? That's a puppet? The white tiger and black tortoise monarchs were astonished. So what if you're puppets? It's enough to suppress you all. Yang Pan sneered. He had no intention of killing Jun Xiaoyao. If he were to kill Jun Xiaoyao with his own strength, then even the Jun family would not be able to find any evidence against him. After all, it was normal for the younger generation to die in a fight. However, if Yang Pan were to kill Jun Xiaoyao with the sage's puppets, the Jun family would definitely be furious. Even the Panwu Jin dynasty behind him would not be able to protect him. While Yang Pan was arrogant beyond measure, he was not brainless. All he needed to do was to suppress Jun Xiaoyao and the others with the sage's puppet. After that, he could simply attack the imperial city of the ancient kingdom of Phoenix and take the compass components. Jun Xiaoyao, as long as I use the sage's puppets to suppress you, the ancient kingdom of Phoenix will still be mine. Be it that item or Bai Yuer, they'll all be mine. Yang Pan took a look at Bai Yuer, and his eyes flashed with a hint of fiery evilness. Bai Yuer was indeed very beautiful. She was so charming that Yang Pan's heart was itching. He had a habit of collecting beautiful women, and Bai Yuer was a treasure that he had to have. Dream on. Can you even compare to a finger of Lord Son of God? Bai Yuer rebuked coldly, and her eyes were filled with disgust. While Yang Pan's strength and status were not weak, his appearance, character, and temperament could not be compared to Jun Xiaoyao's at all. One was a celestial being. The other was a commoner. How could the 2 be compared? Bitch, let's see if you'll still say that when you've submitted to me. Yang Pan rebuked. The 4 sages' puppets unleashed their auras at the same time, ready to attack. At that moment, Jun Xiaoyao's gaze swept across the rulers. Do you still want to follow Yang Pan? Jun Xiaoyao's words made the white tiger ruler and the black tortoise ruler's expressions change, and then the look in their eyes changed. To be honest, Yang Pan was temperamental, and he even called them shit-eating trash. Instead of following the marquis champion and being bullied, it was better to submit to Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's status could only be higher than the marquis champion's. With that in mind, the 2 rulers did not hesitate. In a flash, they switched sides and said, "We are willing to submit to the Son of God of the Jun family." You! Cold flames burned in Yang Pan's eyes. The Azure Dragon ruler's face was tense. He did not choose to side with Jun Xiaoyao. That was because his son, Xiao Chen, already had a grudge against Jun Xiaoyao. In addition, the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon was considered the leader of this war. The ancient kingdom of Phoenix would not let the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon off the hook so easily. Most importantly, the Azure Dragon ruler wanted to become the ruler of the 4 symbols ancient kingdom. Only Yang Pan would be able to fulfill his ambitions. Therefore, the Azure Dragon ruler was determined to cling to Yang Pan's thigh. Jun Xiaoyao didn't seem to mind the Azure Dragon King's indifference. He still wanted to mess with Xiao Chen in the future, so it was not a wise move to take in his father. Humph, do the 2 of you have a death wish? Yang Pan said coldly. The faces of the 2 monarchs were unnatural. Jun Xiaoyao said calmly, "With me around, who would dare to destroy their country?" Jun Xiaoyao, don't be so smug. I have the Azure Dragon ruler and 5 saints here. We can still suppress you all. At Yang Pan's command, the Azure Dragon ruler led the 4 saint puppets and charged toward Jun Xiaoyao. The vermilion bird, white tiger, and black tortoise rulers' auras also surged as they prepared to meet the enemy. However, Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand and smiled. There's no need for that for now. Let's just watch the show. Watch the show. The three rulers froze in place. At that moment, the sound of a guqin suddenly rang out in the distance. It turned into a 1,000-foot-long killing blade that cut across the sky. That terrifying zither killing blade even tore space apart. Wherever it passed, a pitch-black spatial crack was left behind. A guardian. Yang Pan's expression changed abruptly. This time, he had come with a clone, so he did not have a guardian with him. However, he did not expect Jun Xiaoyao to have a guardian hiding behind him. Moreover, judging from the power of that move, it was definitely not something an ordinary saint could compare to. Damn it! The Azure Dragon ruler's eyes were filled with unprecedented shock. That guqin killing blade caused even a saint like him to feel a chill run down his spine, and a chill ran down his spine. Imperial Dragon Fist. The Azure Dragon ruler let out a low roar as he fully unleashed his power as a saint. The shadow of an azure dragon accompanied his fist as it blasted out, shaking the heavens. However, the result was poof. The killing blade swept across, and a head fell to the ground. The Azure Dragon ruler was dead. In full. Chapter 93. The ruler of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, the leader of the four great ancient kingdoms, had his throat slit and his head rolled off. Fresh blood splattered across the sky. It was a tragic sight. Everyone was dumbfounded. They never thought that a saint would be killed in an instant so easily. The Emperor of Azure Dragon's head fell to the ground. His expression was one of fear, confusion, and confusion. It was as if he was confused. How could a saint be killed in one move? However, that was not all. The guqin blade did not slow down and continued to sweep toward the four saint puppets. Boom! A violent explosion rang out. Two saint puppets were directly destroyed and cut in half at the waist. The remaining two puppets were also severely injured. Although they did not completely disintegrate, they were already in pieces. The entire battlefield was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. The Marquis Champion's pupils trembled violently, revealing a trace of disbelief. Jun Xiaoyao's protector was that powerful? Yang Pan had originally thought that even if Jun Xiaoyao had a protector, it would only be at the saint realm. Generally speaking, no matter how powerful an expert was, they would not be willing to be a personal nanny. Jun Xiaoyao's protector's strength was clearly above the saint realm. Could it be a saint king? Yang Pan's expression was very ugly. Ever since he became the Marquis Champion, he had never suffered such a great loss. Now, he had lost almost all of his high-end combat forces. The remaining two damaged puppets were also almost without any combat power. On Jun Xiaoyao's side, not to mention the terrifyingly powerful protector, he had three saints. In addition, the armies of the White Tiger Ancient Kingdom and the Black Tortoise Ancient Kingdom had turned traitor. The Marquis Champion's momentum was gone. Seeing the situation, Yang Pan took a deep breath. Jun Xiaoyao, do you really want to go against me? Why don't we both take a step back now? Yang Pan was not stupid. At this point, if he continued to fight, he would be the one at a disadvantage. Weren't you quite strong before? Now you're taking a step back? Jun Xiaoyao mocked. Jun Xiaoyao, this Marquis is giving you face. There's no benefit in being enemies with me. Yang Pan said with a gloomy expression. Do I, the Son of God, need your face? Besides, I have so many enemies. Do you think I would care about a mere horse breeder like you? Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent. He didn't say anything else and reached out with his hand. A ferocious golden aura soared into the air, transforming into a lifelike golden divine elephant that seemed capable of suppressing the entire universe. Facing this clone, Jun Xiaoyao didn't even need to use any great divine abilities. He could end the battle with a slap. Jun Xiaoyao, you're digging your own grave. Yang Pan roared, also bursting forth with his own great divine ability. However, he was merely a clone, and he did not even have the Pan Huang life sword with him. How could he possibly be a match for Jun Xiaoyao? Pucci! Jun Xiaoyao pressed down with his palm, directly smashing Yang Pan's clone into a bloody pulp. When they saw this scene, everyone felt their scalps go numb. The Marquis of Champion's clone was killed with a single slap just like that. The son of God of the Jun family has already become so powerful? Many generals were shocked. Their cultivation levels were a few levels higher than Jun Xiaoyao's, but when they saw Jun Xiaoyao's ferocious stance, their hearts palpitated. At the same time that Jun Xiaoyao smashed Yang Pan's clone into pieces. Far away in the Panwu celestial dynasty, in a magnificent palace that was shrouded in purple mist and filled with a myriad of phenomena, a furious roar came from within. Jun Xiaoyao, I, Yang Pan, am irreconcilable with you. Hearing this voice, the maids and attendants outside the palace all turned pale with fright. If Yang Pan was angered, he was even more terrifying than an Azura demon. I seem to have heard the name of the son of God of the Jun family. What kind of enmity did the Marquis have with him? Some of the servants thought in fear. At this time, Yang Pan's cold voice came from inside the palace. Men, spread the news that I, the Marquis of Champion, Yang Pan, will challenge Jun Xiaoyao of the Jun family at the top of the Forbidden City in the Imperial Palace of the Jin Dynasty. Set the time to be on the day of Jun Xiaoyao's prince consort selection. I want to stomp Jun Xiaoyao under my feet in front of all the forces in the mystic region. Hearing this, all the servants around the palace were petrified. Their eyes widened and they gasped. The Marquis of Champion of the Jin Dynasty of Panwu challenged the son of God of the Jun family of the ancients. This was no small matter. If the news were to spread, it would cause a huge uproar. Furthermore, the timing was set on the day of Wu Mingyue's prince consort selection. When the time came, the Jin Dynasty of Panwu would become a hot topic. How many forces would be attracted to come? It was unimaginable. A grand battle of geniuses is about to begin. I hope the Marquis will have the last laugh, an old servant sighed. At the same time, in the ancient kingdom of Phoenix, Jun Xiaoyao did not know that Yang Pan was so angry that he wanted to challenge him to a fight. But even if he knew, Jun Xiaoyao would probably not be affected. How dare Yang Pan make a fuss in front of him? He could just crush him with one palm. The eyes of the countless people in the surroundings were still filled with shock. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, looked indifferent. Casually slapping a Yang Pan clone to death was really not a big deal to him. Jun Xiaoyao looked around and saw a ring flashing in the blood of Yang Pan's clone. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand and grabbed it, catching it in his hand. There was a soul seal on the ring. Jun Xiaoyao activated the True Spirit in the Divine Palace at will. The True Spirit, which was like a miniature version of Jun Xiaoyao, released a vigorous spiritual power. Although Jun Xiaoyao's physical body was terrifying, he did not slack on the cultivation of his spiritual power. He had been practicing the meditative method of chaotic divinity all this time. Jun Xiaoyao's spiritual power easily broke through the seal on the ring. Jun Xiaoyao did not care about some of the messy things inside. What he cared about was the bronze compass parts. Sure enough, the 3 bronze compass components were all in there. Yang Pan, you've been planning for so long, but I still took the fruits of your labor in the end. You're practically Yang Pan too. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. Yang Pan's painstaking plan ended up benefiting Jun Xiaoyao. He knew that Yang Pan must be so angry that he was about to explode on the spot. Jun Xiaoyao then put the 3 pieces of the compass into his spatial power item. In this way, he had collected all 4 compass parts, but now was not the time to study them. Jun Xiaoyao glanced down at the army of the ancient kingdom of Dragon. Everyone's face was extremely pale. There was even a hint of hatred in the eyes of the generals. After all, their king had indirectly died at the hands of Jun Xiaoyao. Passed down the order of the Son of God. Kill all the generals of the ancient kingdom of Dragon who are soldiers and above, Jun Xiaoyao said coldly. Yes. Without waiting for the king of Vermilion Bird to agree, the kings of White Tiger and Black Tortoise hurriedly responded. Since they had surrendered, they naturally had to show some attitude. Soon, they killed all the generals of the ancient kingdom of Dragon, and all the soldiers surrendered. Next, Jun Xiaoyao issued an order to unify the 4 great ancient kingdoms into the 4 symbols ancient kingdom. The king of Vermilion Bird was the ruler of the 4 symbols ancient kingdom, and his successor was none other than Bai Yuer. The storm in the 4 great ancient kingdoms was thus settled. But just as the waves began to rise, the complete book. Chapter 94. The incident involving the 4 ancient nations was not something that everyone in the mystic realm knew about. However, the dozens of states nearby were in an uproar. In the beginning, no one was optimistic about the ancient kingdom of Phoenix. They thought that the outcome was already set. The ancient kingdom of Phoenix would either submit or be destroyed. However, the news eventually spread and shocked the world. The son of God of the Jun family led the 4 armies of the wind, forest, fire, and mountain to reinforce the ancient kingdom. The person behind the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon was also revealed. It was the marquis champion of the Panwu Jin dynasty. The following news was so shocking that it made everyone's scalp tingle. The son of God of the Jun family killed the marquis champion's clone. Even the emperor of the Azure Dragon dynasty was killed by his protector. The battle between the son of God of the Jun family and the marquis champion of the Jin dynasty ended with Jun Xiaoyao's complete victory. However, there were also many people who knew that the Marquis of Champion, who had a disagreeable and arrogant temperament, would absolutely not be able to endure suffering such a huge loss. As expected, a few days later, news spread from the Panwu Celestial Dynasty. The Marquis Champion, Yang Pan, was going to challenge Jun Xiaoyao at the peak of the Forbidden City. The date he chose was the day when the eldest princess of the Jin dynasty, Wu Mingyue, was choosing her husband. The news was like a boulder falling into the ocean, causing huge waves. Many people knew that Yang Pan had ulterior motive. On the day when Wu Mingyue was choosing her husband, countless forces would come to the Panwu Jin dynasty to observe the ceremony. Under such circumstances, the popularity and influence of the battle between the two would reach its peak. If Yang Pan could really defeat Jun Xiaoyao, the news would spread throughout the Huangtian mystic realm in the shortest time possible. By then, the legend of the son of God of the Jun family would be shattered in an instant. The Marquis Champion would be able to use Jun Xiaoyao's reputation to climb to the top. One had to admit that Yang Pan's choice was a little cunning. Is the Marquis Champion that confident in himself? Many people were discussing. You cannot underestimate the Champion Marquis. He is someone who has been recognized by the Pan Wang Life Sword. Furthermore, there are rumors that he is the reincarnation of Great Emperor Panwu. That should be a rumor. However, the Champion Marquis is indeed not weak. He can be considered a top figure among the younger generation. I wonder if the son of God of the Jun family will accept the challenge? Let's wait and see. Just as everyone else in the immortal region was waiting for Jun Xiaoyao's response, however, Jun Xiaoyao did not release any news. This made many people feel surprised. Could it be that the son of God of the Jun family, who had always been high-profile and flamboyant, was scared? Little did they know. Jun Xiaoyao was studying the bronze compass in the royal palace of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. He had already put the 4 pieces of the compass together to form a complete compass. The complete feng shui compass appeared rather simple and profound, carrying with it the aura of time. However, Jun Xiaoyao did not know how to use it for the time being. Could it be that it's not time to use it yet? Jun Xiaoyao guessed. There had been no news of the Bronze Immortal Palace in the entire Immortal region for a long time. Perhaps the time had not come yet. When news of the Bronze Immortal Palace spread again, this compass should be of great use. Thinking of this, Jun Xiaoyao put the bronze compass into his spatial artifact. Looks like I've gained quite a lot from this trip, Jun Xiaoyao mumbled to himself. The most important thing was, of course, the bronze compass. Secondly, he also signed in at the royal palace and obtained the ancient sacred weapon, Phoenix Cry Mountain. In addition, he also integrated the 4 symbols ancient nations. The current strength of the 4 symbols ancient nations was far beyond that of the 4 great ancient nations. Although it was still not comparable to the imperishable orthodoxies, it was already considered a top force. Is he going to challenge me at the top of the Forbidden City? Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. Recently, the news of the Champion Marquis challenge had caused a lot of commotion. Jun Xiaoyao naturally knew about it. He did not respond because he had been studying the bronze compass. But now Jun Xiaoyao did not plan to respond. After all, he had already planned to personally go on the day of Wu Mingyue's son-in-law selection. As for the Champion Marquis, he would just suppress him when the time came. Yang Pan, it's hell ahead. Jun Xiaoyao smiled. He knew that Yang Pan had the Pan Huang Sword of Life, and was also a person with providence. In his eyes, he was a green leek. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was thinking about how to harvest Yang Pan in the future. Far away, in the dark desert state of the 3000 mystical state, this place could be considered as a deserted province, and there were large expanses of desolate mountains and deserts. In the 3000 mystical states, it was a relatively desolate state with fewer cultivators. At this moment, outside a mountain range in the dark desert state that exuded a wild aura, a handsome young man in a green robe was kneeling on the ground. His eyes were blood-red as he roared at the sky. It was Shao Chen. After the secret treasure of Yuantian, Shao Chen came to the dark desert state under the guidance of Master Blue Dragon. He was going to find the ancient nest where the ancient freak of Zulong was buried. However, he had just heard about the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon from a cultivator who was passing by. His father, the king of Dragon Kingdom, was killed by Jun Xiaoyao's protector. The entire ancient kingdom of Dragon was destroyed and merged into the 4 symbols ancient kingdom. Now, Shao Chen did not even have the identity of the crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Dragon. He had completely become a commoner with no background. Jun Xiaoyao, I will skin you alive, tear out your tendons, crush your bones, and scatter your ashes. If I don't do this, I won't be a human. Shao Chen roared at the sky. Extreme hatred and anger surged in his heart. Master Blue Dragon's soul appeared beside him. His old face was extremely ugly. He had said that Shao Chen was the son of the nation, but now, he did not even have a nation. More importantly, that thing was gone. Sigh, that bronze compass must have fallen into the hands of the son of God of the Jun family. That man has really set things up. Master Blue Dragon sighed deeply. They did not know that Jun Xiaoyao had been preparing to conquer the 4 ancient kingdoms since the moment he met Bai Yu. As for the bronze compass, it was a pleasant surprise. Grand Elder, I want to become stronger. I must kill Jun Xiaoyao. I must kill him. Shao Chen's eyes were bloodshot. His blood vessels were about to explode. He looked like he had gone mad. Master Azure Dragon furrowed his brows as he yelled, Calm down, Shao Chen. Your Tao heart is about to be corrupted. Go mad? Haha, so what? I will kill Jun Xiaoyao, no matter what the cost. Shao Chen's handsome face was twisted. He looked as ferocious as a ghost. Have you forgotten that you still have 2 trump cards? The blood of the Supreme Being in the Gu Nest, Wu Mingyue, and the Panwu Jin dynasty, Master Blue Dragon said. Those words were like a bucket of cold water poured over Shao Chen's head. He immediately calmed down. That's right. I haven't lost yet. I still have Mingyue. I want to marry her. She will definitely help me. Shao Chen took a deep breath. Shao Chen gradually calmed down at the thought of that peerless beauty. Even if he had lost his father and his country, At least, there was still a woman who would accompany him and help him. However, Xiao Chen did not know. Wu Mingyue hid the fact that she was Jun Xiaoyao's slave from him. If Xiao Chen found out, it was hard to imagine how crazy he would be. The whole book. Chapter 95. Old Ancestor, I'm sorry. I lost my composure. I have to find the ancient nest and obtain the sovereign's blood so that my strength can evolve. Xiao Chen's character was indeed one of perseverance. He calmed down at that moment. Only by becoming stronger would he be able to marry Wu Mingyue. Xiao Chen, you have to marry Wu Mingyue if you want your plan to succeed. Do you know who is the biggest obstacle to you now? Master Blue Dragon asked. Could it be? Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows. Yes, it is not Jun Xiaoyao, but the Marquis Champion, Yang Pan. Master Blue Dragon said. As expected, it's Yang Pan. There's news that the Prince Consort has already been decided internally. It's that champion Marquis Yang Pan. But then again, there's no way I would give Mingyue to that kind of licentious scum, Xiao Chen said with a cold expression. The person he hated the most was Jun Xiaoyao. However, he was also very unhappy with Yang Pan. Yang Pan was the one who tried to steal his woman. So what if he was the Marquis Champion? Wu Mingyue liked him, not that scumbag Yang Pan. Therefore, Xiao Chen made up his mind to trample Yang Pan under his feet in front of everyone on the day of Wu Mingyue's prince consort selection. Only by defeating Yang Pan could he be chosen by the Panwu Jin dynasty. Alright, the ancient nest should be in the Huangmang Mountains. Let's go, Master Blue Dragon said. Xiao Chen nodded and entered the mountains in a flash. A few days later, Xiao Chen found a narrow gap in the mountains under the guidance of Master Blue Dragon. He went through the gap and found that there was another world inside. It was like an underground world. All kinds of divine sources were stacked in it, releasing spiritual qi. Xiao Chen was dumbfounded by the sight. What made Xiao Chen gasp even more was that he actually found the blood of the Supreme Lord, which contained the bloodline of the ancestral dragon. The sovereign's blood had gathered into a small blood pool. Just as Xiao Chen was about to take the opportunity, the imperious voice of an empress could be heard all of a sudden. Mortal, how dare you touch my things? Who is it? Xiao Chen was shocked. Not good. It's very likely to be that ancient freak sealed by the immortal origin. Master Azure Dragon transmitted his voice. There's another primordial spirit possessing him? The woman who called herself this palace spoke out, sounding a bit surprised. Xiao Chen gritted his teeth and ignored the voice, continuing to train with the supreme blood. Mortal, how about making a deal with me? The female voice said. A deal? You're just an ancient freak with Archean royalty. What kind of deal do you have with me? Xiao Chen said coldly. I do not know how long I have been asleep. The immortal origin formation has long lost its energy. Go and find the blood of 99 virgin boys and 99 virgin girls for me to activate the immortal origin formation, then I will help you fulfill a wish. The voice said. I would rather die than do such a crazy thing, Xiao Chen said with a sense of righteousness. Oh, any wish is possible. As long as I say the word, even Zulong will listen to me. The female voice continued. Any wish. Xiao Chen's eyes flickered. If he let this ancient freak from Zulong kill Jun Xiaoyao for him, Xiao Chen suddenly shook his head, suppressing the thought. No need, I will take revenge myself. Xiao Chen continued to focus on absorbing the supreme blood. Haha, is that so? In my opinion, human nature is very dirty. The female voice murmured, then fell silent. Xiao Chen was also relieved. It seemed that the ancient freak from Zulong had some kind of restriction that prevented him from breaking out for the time being. He could finally settle down and focus on his cultivation. Jun Xiaoyao, just you wait. The next time I appear in front of you, don't be surprised. The flames of revenge ignited in Xiao Chen's eyes. After the situation in the Four Symbols ancient nation was completely stabilized, Jun Xiaoyao also prepared to return to the Jun family. After all, he also had to start preparing for the next scheme. The scheme against the Jin dynasty of Panwu. Jun Xiaoyao had to go to Panwu Hill, not only because of the check-in. It was also because he might find the opportunity to awaken the next vision of the sacred body there. However, Panwu Hill was the private land of the Jin dynasty of Panwu, and it was impossible for outsiders to enter. It was even more so for someone of Jun Xiaoyao's status. No force would be stupid enough to use their own resources to support the geniuses of other forces. When Jun Xiaoyao left the ancient nation of Phoenix, Bai Yu was very reluctant to see him go. "I'll leave the 4 symbols ancient nation to you and the king of Phoenix. Don't let me down," Jun Xiaoyao said. "Yes, Yu will take good care of the ancient nation of Phoenix." Bai Yu looked determined. After that, Jun Xiaoyao took everyone back to the Jun family. Meanwhile, the battle between the Marquis of Panwu and the Jin dynasty of Panwu was still brewing. Jun Xiaoyao still did not say anything. This time, some people began to deliberately spread rumors and rumors. They said that the son of God of the Jun family was afraid of the Marquis of Champion and did not dare to accept the challenge. Those who deliberately spread such rumors included supporters of the Marquis of Champion and supporters of the Archean royalty. Their purpose was undoubtedly to smear Jun Xiaoyao's reputation. Of course, there were also many staunch supporters of Jun Xiaoyao, who thought that Jun Xiaoyao just did not want to accept the challenge. Most of these supporters were women. After all, no matter where one was, there was no shortage of die-hard fans. But then again, the truth was just as these supporters thought. Jun Xiaoyao was just too lazy to accept the challenge. When the time came, he could just kill Yang Pan with a slap. Why did he have to go through so much trouble? A few more months passed. Jun Xiaoyao was already 12 years old. His figure was more slender, and his face was more handsome. The only thing that troubled Jun Xiaoyao was that he did not have any celestial source to cultivate the immortal body of the Daluo. Later, the Jun family gave Jun Xiaoyao more than a dozen celestial sources, but for Jun Xiaoyao it was far from enough. Looking at the celestial sources, Jun Xiaoyao never thought that there would be a day when he would lack resources. The immortal body of the Daluo consumes a terrifying amount of resources, more than the sacred body of the ancients. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head helplessly. "I'd better stop cultivating and find a way to get some resources. Can I extort some resources from the Jin dynasty of Panwu? As the eldest princess of the Jin dynasty, Wu Mingyue should have a lot of resources." Jun Xiaoyao murmured. If Wu Mingyue heard this, she would probably say that Jun Xiaoyao had the heart of a demon. "Well, it's time to go to the Jin dynasty of Panwu. Some things need to be set up in advance. I'd love to see Xiao Chun and Yang Pan get into a fight. I'd love to see them fight each other." Jun Xiaoyao smiled. He knew that because of Wu Mingyue, Xiao Chun and Yang Pan would definitely have a conflict. When the time came, wouldn't it be interesting to see 2 leaks fighting each other? The whole book. Chapter 96. After coming up with a plan, Jun Xiaoyao left the Jun residence alone in a carriage pulled by a 9-headed lion, heading for the Panwu Jin dynasty. He didn't bring Jun Zhanjian and the others, not even Jun Linglong. This time, Jun Xiaoyao was going to act alone, and it was inconvenient for him to bring them along. Just after Jun Xiaoyao left the Jun residence, the entire mystic realm was gradually stirred up. This was because the Panwu Jin dynasty released news that a grand banquet would be held in the forbidden city of the Panwu Jin dynasty half a month later. The Panwu Jin dynasty would invite all forces of the Huangtian mystic realm to attend. At that time, the Panwu Jin dynasty would also choose Wu Mingyue's son-in-law from the young talents of many forces. As soon as this news was released, countless forces moved. All kinds of ships, carriages, and flying beasts swept across the sky from time to time, heading in the direction of the Panwu Jin dynasty. As a powerful immortal Jin dynasty, if they could marry the eldest princess and become the son-in-law, It could almost be said that they had formed an alliance. Those top orthodoxies wanted to form an alliance with the Panwu Jin dynasty to reach a higher level. As for the immortal forces, they wanted to make the Panwu Jin dynasty their ally. After all, it was difficult to do things alone. Even if it was a powerful immortal force, if they didn't have an ally, they would still be at risk of being surrounded by other immortal orthodoxies. Because of this, many forces were moved and prepared to send their disciples to try their luck. Not to mention, the eldest princess of the Jin dynasty was a stunning beauty. She was very popular, and her beauty was known far and wide in the Huangtian mystic realm. The combination of these two reasons made the Panwu Jin dynasty's banquet very grand. However, at the same time this news was released, at the residence of the champion, Marquis Champion Yang Pan spoke again. He said that if the son of God of the Jun family didn't dare to accept the challenge, then in the future, he would personally go to the Jun family's mountain gate to challenge him. As soon as this news was released, it caused a huge commotion. Many people felt that this Marquis Champion was too arrogant. He even dared to block the entrance of the Jun family's mountain gate. Long Haotian, the last person who had challenged the Jun family at the mountain gate, had already died. Many female cultivators who worshipped Jun Xiaoyao were furious. This ugly Marquis of Champion is jealous of my Xiaoyao's peerless beauty. That's right. So what if he's strong? Doesn't he know that this is an era where looks matter? Besides, my family's Xiaoyao is also invincible among his peers. What does that Marquis Champion amount to? In the Jiang family of the remote antiquity. Abominable, abominable, too abominable, infuriating. A petite figure of Linglong stomped her feet. She was so angry that her twin ponytails were sticking up behind her head. Her delicate and pretty little face also had a fierce and cute expression. Luoli, if you don't cultivate properly, you'll be locked up in the family's land forever. Not far away, Jiang Xingyi, who was dressed in a snow-white robe and looked like a fairy, walked over. Seeing Jiang Luoli's fierce face, she felt a headache coming on. Humph, Luoli can't take this lying down. That Marquis Champion is spreading such news to smear Brother Xiaoyao's reputation. Jiang Luoli pouted, her face full of anger. It's just a petty person making trouble. That Marquis Champion is famous for his bad temperament. You don't have to worry about it. Xiaoyao doesn't care either, Jiang Xingyi said. The news of the Marquis Champion challenging Jun Xiaoyao spread like wildfire in the mystic region. Although Jiang Luoli was in seclusion in the family's land, she could still get the news through her maids. No, I have to come out of seclusion and go to the Panwu Jin dynasty, Jiang Luoli said. What are you going to do? Are you going to fight for the position of prince consort? Jiang Xingyi joked. I'm going to suppress that Marquis Champion and stomp on his face to vent my anger. Let's see if he still dares to provoke Brother Xiaoyao. Jiang Luoli said righteously. Oh? Is that all? Jiang Xingyi smiled slightly, as if she had seen through Jiang Luoli. Jiang Luoli's face turned slightly red when she heard this. She lowered her head embarrassedly and twisted her two jade fingers together. Of course, although I know that Brother Xiaoyao won't fight for the position of prince consort, but what if? Jiang Luoli stammered. Obviously, Jiang Luoli was afraid that Jun Xiaoyao would attend the banquet and fight for the position of prince consort and marry Wu Mingyue. After all, Wu Mingyue was also a very famous peerless beauty. There was almost no man who could not be moved by Wu Mingyue. That's your main purpose, isn't it? Jiang Xingyi said with a smile. They hadn't even married yet, and Jiang Luoli had already become a protective little hen. Jiang Luoli was very embarrassed by this, and her sparkling earlobes were completely red. All right, then I'll take you there. Jiang Xingyi smiled helplessly and rubbed Jiang Luoli's little head. Oh yeah, Sister Xingyi is the best. Jiang Luoli's beautiful eyes curved into crescents as she smiled. Jiang Xingyi also smiled, but there was a slight trace of undetectable sadness in the depths of her eyes. This girl, she really likes Xiao Yao. On the other side, in the territory of the Yi family of the clan of the Ancients, on the peak of a towering mountain, a handsome blue-robed young man with dashing eyebrows and bright eyes sat cross-legged. The sky above his head was like a curtain of night. A dazzling river of stars flowed in the night sky. Amidst its beauty, there was also an extremely dangerous aura. This young man was none other than Yi Xingyun. Early on at Jun Xiaoyao's 10-years-old banquet, Yi Xingyun was brutally ravaged by Jun Xiaoyao and was greatly embarrassed. However, Yi Xingyun profited from his misfortune and awakened a certain memory. After that, Yi Xingyun's personality seemed to have undergone subtle changes. He became more and more mature and reserved. He was no longer as arrogant as before. The Marquis of Champion of the Jin dynasty from Panwu will definitely challenge Jun Xiaoyao to a battle. Yi Xingyun narrowed his eyes slightly as he pondered. Although his personality had changed a little, his hatred remained the same. He wanted revenge on Jun Xiaoyao. He also wanted to get his hands on Jiang Luoli. Well, I'll make a trip to Panwu Jin dynasty this time. I can also find out the true strength of Jun Xiaoyao. Yi Xingyun made up his mind and asked Uncle Fu to prepare the carriage. In a vast and ancient spiritual mountain in Crimson Province, the entire spiritual mountain covered an extremely large area and was shrouded in mist and clouds. There were strange rocks, steep peaks, flying phoenixes, and circling phoenixes. At a glance, one could not see the end of the mountain range. This area was one of the Archean royalty, the ancestral land of the Wanhuang Spiritual Mountain. The Wanhuang Spiritual Mountain was one of the top Archean royalty on par with Zulong. It had a deep foundation and was powerful. At this moment, an old voice came from one of the mountains. Huang Xuani, Feng Qingling, the two of you go to Panwu Jin dynasty. Remember, don't tarnish the reputation of the Wanhuang Spiritual Mountain. Yes, we will obey the great elder's order. In the mountain range, two figures, a man and a woman, wrapped in blazing divine light, soared into the sky. In the sky, two golden phoenixes were pulling two chariots. The two figures flashed into the carriages. I wonder if we will be able to see the rumored son of God of the Jun family this time? Feng Qingling said in the carriage. I also want to see what kind of person Jun Xiaoyao is, who made Zulong lose face again and again, Huang Xuani said. But we are not Long Haotian and Long Bichi. Feng Qingling chuckled. If Jun Xiaoyao underestimates us, I'm afraid he will suffer a lot. Huang Xuani's tone was very relaxed, with a hint of self-satisfaction. The whole book. Chapter 97. Just as the entire immortal realm was in a state of turmoil, Jun Xiaoyao, who was in the eye of the storm, was about to reach the capital of the Panwu Jin dynasty. Along the way, he passed through several transportation arrays and arrived at the Panwu Daozhou. The capital of the Jin dynasty was located in the central region of the Panwu Daozhou. There was still half a month left, which was enough for Jun Xiaoyao to make his next arrangements. At this moment, the nine-headed lion's voice came from outside the carriage. Master, the capital of the Jin dynasty is in front of us. Jun Xiaoyao lifted the curtains to take a look. In front of them, there was an extremely majestic city that stood tall on the ground. The entire city was vast and boundless. The city walls were like the Great Wall, extending to the left and right endlessly. Within the capital, there were pavilions, terraces, and pavilions. The streets were bustling with people. There were also many floating islands in the sky. There were palaces scattered on them, which made it look like a celestial palace. This Panwu Jin dynasty is indeed worthy of being called the Immortal Jin dynasty. It's quite impressive. Jun Xiaoyao sized it up. The immortal orthodoxies were superior. They were giants in the immortal realm. None of them were simple. It was also because of this that although the Jun family and Zulong had a deep hatred for each other, they had never started an immortal war. Both sides knew that it was not easy to completely eradicate an immortal orthodoxy. Of course, strictly speaking, Zulong was more afraid of the Jun family. As for the Panwu celestial dynasty, it was the orthodoxy created by great Emperor Panwu. Although it was no longer at its peak, it had not fallen by much. Jun Xiaoyao's figure descended from the sky. The nine-headed lion broke free from its reins and followed Jun Xiaoyao. Goshing, aren't you too conspicuous? Jun Xiaoyao glanced sideways. The nine-headed lion's body seemed to be made of gold. It emitted a golden light that was so dazzling that it was difficult to open one's eyes. It was too dazzling. Jun Xiaoyao did not want to become a monkey in a zoo and be surrounded by people. Moreover, some of the things he wanted to do couldn't be too flamboyant. Master, can you not call me by my real name? The nine-headed lion muttered in a low voice. Then, its body suddenly shrank. Finally, under Jun Xiaoyao's gaze, it turned into a Shiba Inu. Yes, in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes, it was no different from a Shiba Inu. However, this nine-headed Shiba Inu looked a little weird and funny. Is this a walking emoji pack? Whatever. Jun Xiaoyao sighed softly. At least the nine-headed Shiba Inu was not as ostentatious as before. With his hands behind his back, Jun Xiaoyao entered the imperial city through the city gate as if he was taking a leisurely stroll. When the Jin dynasty soldiers guarding the city gates saw Jun Xiaoyao, they were all shocked and did not dare to stop him. It was because Jun Xiaoyao's temperament was too extraordinary. His body was surrounded by a faint divine glow and was enveloped by an immortal radiance. His entire body was suffused with an immortal aura and Tao will. This was naturally attributed to the immortal bone of the great Luo that he had refined. Jun Xiaoyao's appearance was also shrouded by the immortal radiance, making it difficult for people to see clearly. Just like that, Jun Xiaoyao entered the imperial city without any hindrance. After Jun Xiaoyao left, a young guard asked in confusion, "Guard captain, why didn't you stop that person and check his identity? It's a rule that all cultivators have to be checked when they enter the city." The guard captain glared at him and said, "You're such a hothead. You can't just stop someone like that. Maybe he's the pride of some immortal orthodoxy and his status is no lower than that of the princess royal." "Oh, I see." The young guard also nodded, feeling a lingering fear in his heart. After Jun Xiaoyao entered the imperial city, he attracted a lot of attention. Although his appearance was covered by a faint mist, his temperament could not be concealed. Many young girls and female cultivators from major forces couldn't help but glance at Jun Xiaoyao from the corner of their eyes. In the entire Huangtian mystic realm, there were many people who knew Jun Xiaoyao's name. But very few people had actually seen him. In addition, there were many disciples from immortal orthodoxies with imperial bodies, divine bodies, and so on who were shrouded in mist. It was impossible that everyone who was shrouded in immortal radiance was Jun Xiaoyao. Therefore, no one could see through him. At this time, a young girl in a plain green dress looked hesitant, but in the end, she gritted her teeth and walked forward. "Sir, this is your first time in the imperial city of the Jin dynasty. I can show you the way and understand the situation." The young girl named Qin Xian looked nervous. She had also received many disciples from major forces, but this was the first time she had seen someone as mysterious and extraordinary as Jun Xiaoyao. The other female cultivators only dared to watch from afar, not daring to get close. Jun Xiaoyao's gaze fell on Qin Xian, and he raised his eyebrows slightly. Qin Xian was only 15 or 16 years old, but her cultivation was at the celestial bridge stage. He noticed this, but he didn't say anything. "Okay, then you lead the way." Jun Xiaoyao took out a piece of supreme-grade celestial source. The group of passers-by around them were stunned. "Damn, that's a supreme-grade celestial source. That man is too rich, isn't he? He must be the successor of some immortal orthodoxy. I envy that girl." There were many exclamations around. Many female cultivators bit their lips and stomped their feet, secretly cursing themselves for missing the opportunity. Qin Xian's mouth was slightly open, and she seemed to be flattered. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. That was because the supreme-grade celestial source was already the most common currency he had. Sir, let me tell you the latest news. In a few days, the Jin dynasty's Princess Royal's Prince Consort banquet will be held. And the Marquis Champion will challenge the Son of God of the Jun family at the peak of the Forbidden City. I heard that the Son of God of the Jun family is a godlike figure, and he is invincible among his peers. When Qin Xian mentioned Jun Xiaoyao, her beautiful eyes were filled with longing. After all, Jun Xiaoyao was already the dream of millions of girls in the mystic realm. The nine-headed lion, who was following beside her, had a strange look in his eyes. If this girl knew that the person beside her was the Son of God of the Jun family, whom she worshipped and longed for, she would probably faint from excitement. However, when the Marquis Champion was mentioned, her emotions were obviously not right and fluctuated. There seemed to be a hint of hatred in her eyes. Jun Xiaoyao saw this and asked casually, "If the Son of God of the Jun family really agrees, who do you hope will win?" When Qin Xian heard this, her eyes were filled with hatred. She said without hesitation, "Qin Xian hopes that the Son of God of the Jun family can win, and even kill the Marquis Champion." Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed with surprise. He said, "At your age, you are already at the great perfection of the Divine Bridge realm. Your background should not be simple, right? How did you end up being a guide?" Qin Xian clenched her fists and said in a low voice, "I was originally from the Marquis Qin's residence. My father was the Marquis Qin of the Jin dynasty. As for my mother, she was a rather famous beauty in the Divine Dynasty. Later, she caught the eye of the Marquis Champion, who wanted to bring her into his harem. My father refused and was killed by him. My mother also died for love. The entire Marquis residence declined, and I could only wander outside," Qin Xian whispered. The hatred in her eyes was so strong that it could not be dissolved. "So that's how it is." Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. He did not have much sympathy for her. After all, there were too many people in this world who deserved sympathy. Jun Xiaoyao was also not the kind of Virgin Mary who pitied people when he saw them in misery. Qin Xian recovered her emotions and forced a smile. "I'm sorry. You must be unhappy with me for saying so many personal things. Don't you want revenge?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. Revenge? The Marquis Champion was like a local tyrant in the Panwu Jin dynasty. Who could take revenge on him? Qin Xian said bitterly and powerlessly. Above the imperial city, at the top of the Forbidden City. At that time, perhaps you can look forward to it, Jun Xiaoyao said softly. With his hands behind his back, he walked leisurely in front of her. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao's back, Qin Xian was a little stunned for a moment. She did not understand what Jun Xiaoyao meant by that. The Complete Book. Chapter 98. With Ji Yanran's introduction, Jun Xiaoyao had a better understanding of the imperial city. "Oh yes, is there a place in the imperial city where I can get dawn stones?" Jun Xiaoyao asked. "Dawn stones?" Ji Yanran glanced at Jun Xiaoyao. Obviously, she meant, would a person who could easily take out a supreme-grade celestial source lack dawn stones? "I'm talking about celestial sources," Jun Xiaoyao said. "Celestial sources?" Ji Yanran was slightly surprised. For someone of her level, a supreme-grade celestial source was an opportunity that could only be found by chance. As for celestial sources, she did not even think about it. "Oh yes, I remember now. In a few days, in the Immortal Jade Tower, the genius of the Immortal Dance Zither sect, the Heavenly Zither Lady, will be holding a zither competition. If someone can beat the Heavenly Zither Lady in the Tao of the Zither, they will be rewarded with 300 celestial sources," Ji Yanran suddenly said. Jun Xiaoyao was rather surprised to hear that. He knew about the Immortal Dance Zither sect. It was a famous top orthodoxy that entered the Tao through the zither. In the past, the sect master of the immortal dance zither sect had once defeated 4 Saint King experts with her zither music, making the sect famous. As for the heavenly zither lady, she was also a famous beauty and a top genius of the immortal dance zither sect. Although the immortal dance zither sect is a top orthodoxy, can they take out 300 celestial sources? Jun Xiaoyao was doubtful. Young master, those celestial sources were gathered by the followers of the heavenly zither lady, such as the young master of the Million Treasure Chamber of Commerce, the third prince of the Panwu Jin dynasty, and so on. Wait, you said that the third prince of the Panwu Jin dynasty is a follower of the heavenly zither lady? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flickered. That's right, but the heavenly zither lady is a cold beauty with a proud personality. Even the third prince pursued her bitterly, Ji Yanran said. This was not a big secret and many people knew about it. Jun Xiaoyao thought about it and a plan gradually appeared in his mind. My zither skills are mediocre, but it should be easy for me to deal with the zither competition. If everything goes according to my plan, then Panwelin is in the bag. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a smirk, as if he had everything planned out. Scheming against an undying power wasn't a simple matter. But for Jun Xiaoyao, it was not so difficult that it was impossible. If Wu Mingyue is the first chess piece, then this Wu Jin dynasty's third prince will be the second chess piece. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. As time passed, the entire capital of the Jin dynasty was becoming more and more lively. Every day, many young prodigies from top orthodoxies could be seen arriving. Before Wu Mingyue chose her husband and the champion marquis challenged her, there was another matter that caused a small commotion. That was the genius of the immortal dance zither sect, the heavenly zither maiden. She was going to host a zither competition in the immortal jade pavilion. The celestial harp lady was also a renowned beauty in the Huangtian mystic realm. But she was an icy beauty and had no interest in any of the young prodigies' pursuits. Only the Tao of zither could pique her interest. But the Tao of zither was very rare. In the entire Huangtian mystic realm, how many young prodigies were proficient in the Tao of zither? Because of that, there was not a single man who could catch the heavenly Qin maiden's eye. Because of this, someone even made up a joke. If a man could conquer the celestial harp lady, then that man must be the god of the Tao of zither. Of course, even if the heavenly Qin maiden's personality was like this, there were still many people pursuing her. The 300 celestial sources for the zither competition were sponsored by the celestial harp ladies' bootlickers. The immortal jade pavilion was one of the most luxurious pavilions in the Jin dynasty's imperial capital. The entrance fee to the immortal jade pavilion alone was 10 low-grade celestial sources. It could be said that this was the most luxurious place. Only the disciples of top orthodoxies, the nobles of the Jin dynasty, and the geniuses of the undying powers could enter. But today, on the top floor of the immortal jade pavilion, there was a rain of flowers and sunlight. Many young prodigies were gathered in one place. It could be said that other than the eldest princess's groom selection banquet, this zither competition was the grandest. Among the geniuses scattered around, there were many powerful auras. They were the top prodigies of various forces. In one of the VIP seats, a young man in a luxurious golden robe sat. He was handsome and had a calm temperament. He had the aura of a superior. He was the third prince of the Jin dynasty. At this moment, his eyes were filled with infatuation and longing as he looked at the high platform. On the high platform, there were clouds of smoke. A woman in a bright red floral dress sat on the high platform. She had a cold and graceful appearance. Her skin was extremely white and she was extremely beautiful. Her fingers were as thin as a scallion, and her mouth was as thin as a cinnabar. A zither was placed in front of her. She gently stroked the strings. From afar, it was like a beautiful scene in a painting. This woman was the heavenly harp lady of the immortal dance zither sect. She was a pure and clean woman who had entered the Tao through the zither. At this moment, Her snow-white and slender hands were gently plucking the strings of the zither. The sound of the zither was like flowing water. It attracted spiritual birds to fly over and circle the immortal jade pavilion. This song should only exist in the heavens. It's rare to hear it in the mortal world. The third prince was intoxicated and could not stop praising. The heavenly harp lady was attractive not only because of her appearance, but also because of the aura she exuded. Listening to the fairy's song can wash away all the dust in the mortal world. On the other side, a handsome young man with the aura of a nobleman also sighed. He was the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce. The Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce was a rather famous chamber of commerce in the Huangtian mystic realm. It was very powerful and had dealings with many imperishable orthodoxies, and the 300 celestial sources for this zither competition were mostly provided by the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce. Of course, although it was painful for them to provide the celestial sources, it was also to make the beauty smile. However, it was difficult to make the heavenly harp lady smile. It was even more difficult to make her see them in a different light. At this moment there was a golden phoenix in the sky. It was pulling a carriage towards the immortal jade pavilion. When they saw the phoenix, many geniuses on the top floor of the immortal jade pavilion were surprised. That's the phoenix of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain. Could it be that a successor of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain has appeared? Just as everyone was extremely surprised and confused, the phoenix stopped in the void. A graceful figure shrouded in crimson clouds walked out of the carriage. There was a pair of phoenix wings behind her back. Her beautiful face was shrouded in clouds, making it difficult for people to see her clearly. It was Feng Qingling. After she and Huang Xuanyi came to the imperial capital of the Jin dynasty, she heard about the zither competition. Feng Qingling was also good at playing the zither. She had a competitive spirit and came to the competition alone. The heavenly harp lady glanced at Feng Qingling and did not say anything. In terms of strength, she might not be able to compete with this successor of the Archean royalty. However, in terms of zither skills, she was confident that she would not lose to any of the geniuses of the imperishable orthodoxies. As time passed, all the geniuses had arrived. The zither competition was about to begin. And it was also at this moment that a white-robed figure stepped into the immortal Jade Tower, the full edition. Chapter 99. Sir, are we really going to come in? Ji Yanran, who was following beside Jun Xiaoyao, scanned the luxurious immortal Jade Tower with an uneasy look on her face. She had never entered such a high-class place before. If we don't come in, how can we participate in the zither competition? Jun Xiaoyao smiled. He casually took out a peerless godly source and threw it to the servant of the immortal Jade Tower. The servant was stunned and did not dare to stop Jun Xiaoyao from entering. Ji Yanran nodded slightly. She also thought of Jun Xiaoyao as a suitor who admired the heavenly zither maiden. As for the zither competition, Ji Yanran did not even think about it. Soon, Jun Xiaoyao and Ji Yanran reached the top floor of the immortal Jade Tower. As soon as Jun Xiaoyao appeared, the eyes of everyone present were drawn to him. That aura was too special. It was hard not to notice it. Who is that? How can he have such a shocking aura? Why do I feel like an immortal has descended to the mortal world? Many of the elites of the major forces were surprised. The third prince and the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce were also surprised. Especially the third prince. While he was surprised, there was also a hint of wariness in his eyes. In his opinion, most of the men who came to the zither competition were here to admire the heavenly zither maiden's beauty. The third prince had long regarded the heavenly zither maiden as his exclusive property. The mysterious young master in front of him, who was shrouded in immortal light, gave the third prince a faint sense of threat. This was because in front of this white-clothed young master, even he, a prince, felt a vague sense of inferiority. It was like a lowly mortal facing an immortal. This feeling made the third prince extremely unhappy. What made him even more unhappy was that the heavenly zither maiden's gaze was also attracted by this white-clothed sir. What a shocking aura! Even with the heavenly zither maiden's cold personality, she was also surprised. In front of this white-clothed young master, she vaguely felt ashamed of her inferiority. Jun Xiaoyao did not care about everyone's gazes. He casually found a seat and sat down. Qin Xian, on the other hand, felt a little nervous being stared at by so many people. He, on the other side, Feng Qingling also noticed Jun Xiaoyao. Red clouds gathered in her eyes as she tried to see through the mist of immortal radiance on Jun Xiaoyao's face. Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows and released his soul power from his true spirit in his sea god palace. In an instant, Feng Qingling frowned and felt a stabbing pain in her head. This person has some skills. Feng Qingling frowned and gave up on prying. After all, the main reason she had come this time was to meet the heavenly zither maiden, who was known as the #1 zither player. Jun Xiaoyao retracted his gaze and muttered, "The people of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain. It seems that this branch has also begun to move." Previously, it was Zulong who was causing trouble. Now, the successor of the Wanhuang Spirit Mountain had also appeared. It just so happened that these two factions had a good relationship with each other, and they were both against the Jun family. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao naturally did not have a good impression of Feng Qingling. "Everyone, it's about time. Then, let the zither competition begin." On the side of the high platform, an old woman of the immortal dance zither sect said. She was also the protector of the heavenly zither maiden. "Haha, if that's the case, then this one will first embarrass himself. I hope the heavenly zither maiden will not be stingy with your guidance." A young man walked out with a smile and took out his zither. "Please." The heavenly zither maiden only spat out one word with a cold voice. The young man played the zither, and the sound of the zither was like flowing water. The heavenly zither maiden's cold and elegant eyes remained indifferent. After listening to the young man's song, the heavenly zither maiden used her slender fingers to strum the zither strings. In an instant, the sound of the zither was like the sound of nature. There was a holy light lingering around, and smoke clouds rose. There was a faint divine brilliance in the void, which set off the heavenly zither maiden, making her look like a zither fairy. Almost everyone present was intoxicated by the music. The third prince, the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce, and the others were even more in awe. When the heavenly zither maiden finished her song, the sound lingered in the air and lingered in the ears. "This is an immortal song. Wonderful, wonderful! After listening to the heavenly zither maiden's zither music, I feel like I'm about to ascend to a higher level." Many elites exclaimed. "It's really beautiful." Ji Yanran was also fascinated by the music. Even someone like her, who did not understand the Tao of the zither, was a little intoxicated. "It's all right," Jun Xiaoyao said lightly. He did not specialize in the Tao of the zither, nor did he practice the zither much. However, with Jun Xiaoyao's monstrous talent and some famous zither songs from his previous life, he was able to master the zither. With the combination of the two, Jun Xiaoyao's zither skills had unknowingly reached the peak. As for the heavenly zither maiden's music, to him, it could only be considered decent. It was within the category of being able to be appreciated. The young man who challenged the heavenly zither maiden clasped his hands together and said, as expected of the zither maiden of the younger generation in the mystic region, "I concede defeat. Thank you for letting me win." The heavenly zither maiden's face was indifferent. She did not show any joy from her victory. Next, several geniuses went up to challenge her one after another. They were all defeated. Seeing this, the third prince, the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce, and the others all smiled. No one could beat the heavenly zither maiden in the art of the zither. Therefore, no one could attract her interest. At this moment, a slightly arrogant female voice rang out. "Let Qingling meet you, the the number one in the Tao of the Zither among the younger generation in the mystic region. Feng Qingling stood up. She wore a fiery red dress that outlined her tall and slender figure. Although her face was shrouded in a divine glow, a glimpse of her beauty was still breathtaking. She took out a fiery red zither. The zither's strings seemed to be surrounded by flames. It was an extremely powerful noble weapon. I dare not claim to be the number one in the Tao of the zither. Since Miss Feng wants to challenge me, then please. The heavenly zither maiden's tone was indifferent, but there was also a hint of hostility. The two faced each other and began to play the zither at the same time. Listen to my song, Phoenix Seeking Phoenix. Feng Qingling's jade-like hands stroked the zither strings. Countless crimson runes were imprinted in the air. Then, the cries of phoenixes sounded. A phoenix and a phoenix, two lifelike divine birds, circled around Feng Qingling. Many people were shocked by this strange phenomenon. The heavenly zither maiden also began to play the song that made her famous, Rainbow Feather Dress. In an instant, everyone seemed to see a celestial palace descending. Fairies danced, flowers fell from the sky, and golden lotuses bloomed on the ground. Everyone seemed to be intoxicated by the song. They did not know what year it was. The two songs intertwined and collided. Finally, there was a crack. One of Feng Qingling's zither strings broke. Her face was faintly green. Her expression changed. Finally, she stopped playing the zither. You are indeed the number one in the Tao of the zither among the younger generation in the mystic region. If even I can't beat you, then no one can. Feng Qingling shook her head slightly. She came from the Wanhuang Spirit Mountain. She had pride and nobility in her bones. But now she had to admit that she had lost. Of course, this was only because she had lost in the Tao of the zither. In terms of actual strength, the heavenly zither maiden was definitely inferior to her. Moreover, Feng Qingling was also very proud. She thought that she could not beat the heavenly zither maiden. In the entire Huangtian mystic realm, no one in the younger generation could beat the heavenly zither maiden in the Tao of the zither. The entire book. Chapter 100. Even Feng Qingling of the Wanhuang Spirit Mountain was no match for the celestial harp maiden in terms of guqin. The admiration in the hearts of the third prince and the others grew even stronger. He, celestial harp maiden, you've received the teachings of the immortal dance Guqin clan's clan master. I'm afraid no one can beat you in terms of guqin, the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce said flatteringly. Not really. My master said that there is one person who is far inferior to her in terms of guqin, the celestial harp maiden suddenly said. Oh, who is it? The third prince asked. Everyone present was also very curious. In terms of strength, the clan master of the immortal dance Guqin clan might not be the top in the Huangtian mystic realm. But in terms of guqin, the clan master was number one. The celestial harp maiden shook her head slightly and said, My master didn't say much. She only said that person seems to be related to the Jun family. Hearing this, many people around were very surprised. The Jun family of the ancients? The third prince's eyes flashed. If there was a name that was mentioned the most in the imperial capital recently, it would be Jun Xiaoyao. The Jun family. Feng Qingling's eyes were cold. She didn't have a good impression of the Jun family. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, was rather surprised. It can't be that coincidental, right? Jun Xiaoyao thought of his mysterious protector, who had never shown himself. That protector's guqin skills were so strong that he could easily kill a saint. Jun Xiaoyao guessed that the person mentioned by the celestial harp maiden, who even the clan master of the immortal dance Guqin clan praised, was most likely his protector. At this time, the old woman who was the celestial harp maiden's protector said, Who else wants to challenge the young mistress? The entire top floor of the immortal Jade Tower was silent. Even Feng Qingling of the Wanhuang Spirit Mountain was defeated. Who else dared to challenge her? Sir, it seems that the Guqin competition is about to end, Ji Yanran said. However, Jun Xiaoyao stood up. Sir, Ji Yanran looked confused. I would like to challenge the celestial harp maiden. May I? Jun Xiaoyao said plainly. Everyone's eyes fell on Jun Xiaoyao. A sliver of surprise flashed across the heavenly harp maiden's beautiful eyes. She had also been secretly paying attention to Jun Xiaoyao. After all, his temperament was too otherworldly. Of course. I didn't expect you to know how to play the guqin as well. The heavenly Qin maiden took the initiative to speak. I guess so. I've been playing for a few months now, Jun Xiaoyao said. It had indeed only been a few months since he had signed in and obtained Phoenix Cry Chi Mountain. However, the moment these words were spoken, the entire immortal Jade Tower fell silent. Many people were even more astonished. Is this person making fun of the heavenly Qin maiden? You've only been learning the guqin for a few months and you want to challenge the heavenly harp maiden, the #1 guqin cultivator in the Huangtian mystic realm. Everyone thought that this mysterious young master was here to make fun of them. Even the heavenly zither maiden, who had a cold temperament, couldn't help but be stunned. If it had been anyone else, the celestial Qin maiden would not have bothered to compete with him. However, Jun Xiaoyao's temperament was too special. He was like a banished immortal, making it impossible for others to refuse. They wanted to find out more about him. All right then please, young master, the heavenly zither maiden said with a deep look in her eyes. Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged on the high platform. Feng Qingling's eyes revealed a hint of cold mockery. Even she couldn't compare to the heavenly zither maiden. How could a person who had only learned the zither for a few months possibly win? However, in the next moment, Feng Qingling's eyes suddenly froze. Her pupils suddenly shrank, and her breathing seemed to have stopped. That was because Jun Xiaoyao had taken out a guqin. It was red and gilded, exquisite and gorgeous, with a mysterious and powerful fluctuation of power. It was the zither, Phoenix Cry Chi Mountain. Am I seeing things? Is that an ancient sacred weapon? It really is an ancient sacred weapon. Where did that young master come from? He can actually take out an ancient sacred weapon so casually. If it was just a moment ago, everyone was rather disapproving of Jun Xiaoyao. But now they were completely shocked. After all, not everyone could take out an ancient sacred weapon. That young master is definitely the successor of some immortal orthodoxy. Someone thought to himself. The third prince also had a look of surprise on his face. There were many discussions in the immortal Jade Tower. Feng Qingling looked at Phoenix Cry Chi Mountain with an unprecedented passion in her beautiful eyes. That zither was too suitable for her. If she had gotten that zither earlier, she might not have lost to the heavenly zither maiden. Feng Qingling's eyes were surging with greed. As members of the Archean royalty, being domineering was a character that had fused into their bones and blood. On the other side, the heavenly zither maiden was also shocked. She was even more certain that the immortal-like young master in front of her had a very powerful background. Next, the heavenly zither maiden calmed herself down and began to play the zither. It was still her trump card, the Song of Rainbow Feathers. Jun Xiaoyao's slender fingers plucked the strings of the zither. One of the top 10 songs, Guangling San. As soon as the song was played, auspicious signs appeared in the sky, and the flowers of the Tao bloomed. In the void, a rain of light sprinkled down. This was the manifestation of the Tao. Everyone present seemed to have experienced a sublimation. Meanwhile, Jun Xiaoyao's entire body was enveloped in immortal light. His aura was too sacred and overflowing with immortal qi. At this moment, everyone was in a daze. Jun Xiaoyao's song had already integrated the Tao into the sound of the zither. This was a kind of comprehension and evolution. It had even surpassed the zither song itself. Feng Qingling took a deep breath. Her red eyes were also filled with shock. She had just said that if she could not defeat the heavenly zither maiden, no one in the entire immortal region could. But now, after hearing this song, Feng Qingling was in a daze. This song was far inferior to the heavenly zither maiden's Song of Rainbow Feathers. The heavenly zither maiden stopped playing the zither. Her beautiful eyes were dazed. She could no longer play the zither, because what she played was only the shape. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, played like a god. If there was a god in the Tao of the zither, then it should look like Jun Xiaoyao. I lost, the heavenly zither maiden murmured. She had never felt this way before. After the song ended, Jun Xiaoyao felt refreshed. He glanced around. Everyone was still in a daze. After a long while, these prodigies finally came back to their senses. Their eyes were filled with shock. The heavenly zither maiden humbly admits defeat. The heavenly zither maiden actually stood up and bowed to Jun Xiaoyao. Miss. The old woman from the immortal dance zither sect was also shocked. Their miss had always been as cold as ice and had a noble temperament. Not to mention bowing to other men, she rarely even looked at them. The third prince's face turned green when he saw this scene. The young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce also had an ugly expression. However, he had seen many people and had experience. He knew that people like Jun Xiaoyao were definitely not to be trifled with. If he was not careful, it would bring about a disaster. Since young master has one, then these 300 immortal sources belong to young master. The heavenly zither maiden was very generous. Without any hesitation, she directly handed the 300 immortal sources to Jun Xiaoyao. Seeing this scene, the third prince and the others looked as if they had eaten a fly. Their faces turned purple. They felt as if they were using their own money to support a love rival. The heavenly zither maiden's eyes shone with a strange light. She looked at Jun Xiaoyao and hesitated for a moment before speaking. I have a presumptuous request. I hope that I can play zither with young master for an entire night. The mysterious young master in front of her had an outstanding temperament and was shockingly talented. Since he could take out an ancient sacred weapon so casually, it was obvious that his background was not ordinary. In addition, his Tao of the Guqin was so extraordinary that even she admitted defeat. Even though the heavenly zither maiden was an ice beauty, she could not help but melt at this moment. Water gushed out. Hearing this, the third prince and the others felt their chests tighten. Their faces alternated between green and white. Play zither for an entire night? Or talk about love for an entire night? The third prince felt like he had been cheated on. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a faint smile. Things were indeed developing as he had expected. Perhaps the plan could be carried out smoothly. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was about to speak, a female voice interrupted them. I am very interested in that zither of yours, the entire book. Chapter 101. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes turned cold when he heard that voice. He then turned to look at Feng Qingling. Feng Qingling's eyes were burning as she looked at the Phoenix Cry Qishan Guqin. The attributes of this Guqin were very compatible with her. It was as if it was tailor-made for her. Not to mention, it was a rare ancient sacred weapon. A Guqin-type ancient sacred weapon was too rare. It was not just used to cultivate one's temperament. It was very powerful as a weapon against enemies. Therefore, Feng Qingling was tempted and couldn't help but speak. Oh so? Jun Xiaoyao asked in a playful tone. 1,000 supreme-grade divine sources in exchange for your Guqin, Feng Qingling said casually. Some of the young geniuses around took a deep breath. She was indeed the successor of the Archean royalty. She could casually take out 1,000 supreme-grade divine sources. However, many people looked at the Phoenix Cry Qishan Guqin in Jun Xiaoyao's hand. Compared to the Guqin, an ancient sacred weapon, 1,000 supreme-grade divine sources were definitely not much. It was even a little shabby. After all, the value of an ancient sacred weapon could not be measured by supreme-grade divine sources. At the very least, it needed to be measured by celestial sources. However, even if Feng Qingling was the daughter of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain, she could not take out that many celestial sources. Celestial sources were very rare and in short supply even in the Jun family. 1,000 supreme-grade divine sources in exchange for my Guqin. If your brain is not working well, find someone to cure it, Jun Xiaoyao said coldly. He had not taken the initiative to cause trouble for the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain, but the people of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain dared to set their eyes on his Guqin. Do you know who I am? Feng Qingling raised her eyebrows. I don't care who you are, and I'm not interested at all. If you want to die, you can continue to dance in front of me. Jun Xiaoyao's tone was indifferent. Hearing this, many young geniuses widened their eyes. Feng Qingling was the daughter of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain. Her status and strength were not to be trifled with. Even the successor of an immortal force would not have such an attitude in front of Feng Qingling. You're courting death, refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Feng Qingling's beautiful eyes spat out scarlet flames. She was truly furious. As the noble daughter of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain, wherever she went, everyone would look up to her. No one was willing to offend her. In her opinion, since she took a fancy to this ancient zither, Jun Xiaoyao should be very happy to give it to her. Feng Qingling immediately made her move. With a wave of her lily-white hand, a series of crimson runes soared into the sky, seemingly condensing into a pair of phoenix wings. Could that be the divine power of the true phoenix? Many elites in the surroundings stood up, their eyes filled with shock. The true Phoenix Grand Theurgy of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain was on par with the true Dragon Grand Theurgy of the Lair of Zulong. They were both top martial arts theurgies of the immortal realm. That's not right. There's the charm of a true phoenix's great divine ability in it, but it's not the true phoenix's great divine ability. It should be an extension of Sansho. The eyes of some of the more knowledgeable geniuses flickered as they spoke. However, even if it was just a loose move, it was still extremely powerful when used by Feng Qingling. Not to mention, her cultivation base had already reached the perfected stage of the consolidation realm. Feng Qingling was worthy of her status as the noble daughter of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain to have such a cultivation base at such a young age. Young master, be careful. Ji Yanran and the heavenly zither maiden both cried out involuntarily. The third prince's expression darkened when he saw the heavenly zither maiden paying so much attention to Jun Xiaoyao. He won't even know how he's going to die if he offends the noble daughter of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain. The third prince thought coldly in his heart. Just as this thought surfaced in his mind, in the next moment Jun Xiaoyao made his move. He did not use any technique. He simply struck out with his palm. Splat! Jun Xiaoyao's palm collided with Feng Qingling's attack. It was accompanied by a hair-raising cracking sound. Feng Qingling's face suddenly turned ghastly pale. Crack! Her jade-like arm was broken by a terrifying force, and her bones were shattered. Her entire body was also knocked back and finally crashed into a stone pillar. Fortunately, the entire immortal Jade Tower was covered in defensive arrays. Otherwise, this collision alone would have been enough to destroy half of the immortal Jade Tower. How is this possible? Feng Qingling's red lips were as pale as a sheet of paper. The divine flames around her were all scattered, revealing her true appearance. There was a hint of panic on her snow-white and beautiful face. Although she was a woman, her figure was slender and her bones were slender. However, she had a trace of the phoenix bloodline, so her physical strength was far stronger than some human cultivators who focused on body refinement. It was because of this that she was shocked. How could this human's physical body be so terrifying? Could it be that he was also an Archean royalty like her? When Jun Xiaoyao saw this, he struck out with his palm again. He did not need to use any techniques to deal with Feng Qingling. He could suppress her with just one hand. Feng Qingling gritted her teeth when she saw Jun Xiaoyao strike out with his palm again. Her pride as an Archean royalty made her unable to accept such humiliation. Red light bloomed on Feng Qingling's arm, and her bones began to heal rapidly. What a powerful physical body! I heard that Feng Qingling was baptized by the Phoenix blood pool in the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain. Her physical body is amazing. It seems that the rumors are true. Feng Qingling's condition amazed the crowd once again. She was indeed the successor of an imperishable orthodoxy. Her various techniques and trump cards were far from what ordinary sky prides could compare to. What's the use? Jun Xiaoyao's face was indifferent and expressionless. Flying Phoenix Claw. Feng Qingling turned her palm into a claw, and a phoenix claw surrounded by red light appeared. It tore through the air and made a hissing sound. This claw could instantly tear an ordinary consolidation realm's sky pride to shreds. Jun Xiaoyao formed a fist seal and directly shattered the flying phoenix claw. Feng Qingling was sent flying again and coughed out a mouthful of blood. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were cold. His right arm was faintly glowing and surrounded by divine light. He activated the power of an immortal bone of the great all-embracing heaven. In an instant, goosebumps appeared all over Feng Qingling's body. An extreme sense of danger rose from her heart. Jun Xiaoyao showed no mercy. His fist was earth-shattering. Feng Qingling waved one hand and hurriedly took out a protective Dharma treasure. It was a golden shield that looked like a phoenix's wings folded together. Boom! Accompanied by a loud explosion, it was as if divine metals had collided. That shield, which was not of a low grade, was actually shattered into pieces by the impact. Feng Qingling was scared out of her wits. The phoenix wings on her back flapped, and she directly soared into the sky. She flashed into the carriage and fled as fast as she could. She didn't even have time to leave a vicious word. Dead silence. All the sky prides on the top floor of the immortal Jade Tower seemed to have been petrified. Their bodies stiffened. Feng Qingling, the famous noblewoman of the Thousand Phoenix Spirit Mountain, had been defeated in 3 moves. If this news spread, it would cause quite a stir. The heavenly zither maiden looked at Jun Xiaoyao with a strange light in her eyes. Ji Yanran's mouth was also wide open. She clearly didn't expect Jun Xiaoyao to be so strong. The young master of the Myriad Treasures Chamber of Commerce's expression changed from the initial suspicion and fear to the current seriousness. As the young master of the Chamber of Commerce, he had a slick personality and was very shrewd. He knew that such a person could not be provoked in the slightest. But the third prince was different. He was born high and mighty. In the Panwujin dynasty, he was someone who could summon the wind and summon the rain. And now, Jun Xiaoyao's appearance undoubtedly made him feel a sense of danger. When he saw the heavenly zither maiden's attitude toward Jun Xiaoyao, the third prince was even more displeased. Young master, you still haven't replied to the heavenly zither maiden's small request from before? The heavenly zither maiden said faintly. She was naturally referring to the matter of talking to Jun Xiaoyao through the night. No, it was the matter of playing the zither. There was actually a hint of coquettishness in her words. The entire book. Chapter 102. Seeing the heavenly zither maiden's expression, many of the male talents present felt like they could hear their hearts shattering. However, they knew better than anyone that Jun Xiaoyao was not someone to be trifled with. Jun Xiaoyao looked at the heavenly zither maiden's tempted expression, and his lips curled slightly. Reality proved that there was no such thing as an icy beauty in this world. The reason why she was so cold to you was not because of her personality, but because she simply did not like you. The third prince was such a pitiful existence. His status was not low, but in terms of personality, ability, and other aspects, he was not worthy of the heavenly zither maiden's attention. In comparison, Jun Xiaoyao was like a deity in the eyes of the heavenly zither maiden. His mysterious identity and terrifying strength were not even worth mentioning. Just his superb zither skills alone were enough to win the heavenly zither maiden's heart. Unfortunately, Jun Xiaoyao was not interested in the heavenly zither maiden. However, in order to set the third prince up, Jun Xiaoyao could only agree. Since the heavenly zither maiden has invited me like this, it would be impolite of me to refuse. Jun Xiaoyao said warmly. Hearing Jun Xiaoyao's agreement, the heavenly zither maiden was overjoyed. A charming smile appeared on her frosty expression. This made the third prince so jealous that his eyes were about to turn red. He could not buy the smile of a beauty with money. Jun Xiaoyao's casual agreement made the heavenly zither maiden smile sweetly. Sir, please. The heavenly zither maiden seemed to be impatient. She wanted to play the zither and discuss with Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly and left with Ji Yanran and the heavenly zither maiden. Leaving behind a group of bootlickers, they looked at each other in disarray in the wind. Sigh, third prince, we've fought for so long, but in the end it all went to someone else. The young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce walked over and shook his head with a bitter smile. Are you really willing to let that guy get his hands on the heavenly zither maiden? A dark look appeared in the third prince's eyes. I'll only give you one warning. It's best not to provoke that person, said the young master of the Million Treasures Chamber of Commerce. Oh, you know his identity? The third prince's eyes flashed. I don't know. It's just an intuition, said the young master of the Myriad Treasures Chamber of Commerce. He had seen too many people. He already had an intuition about who he could offend and who he couldn't. I can't afford to provoke him. So what if he's a descendant of an imperishable orthodoxy? I'm still a prince of the Panwu Jin dynasty. The third prince sneered, flicked his sleeves and left. Sigh, if you don't listen to good advice, you'll suffer. The young master of the Myriad Treasures Chamber of Commerce shook his head. He faintly felt that this third prince was going to be in big trouble. The zither competition in the Immortal Jade Pavilion came to an end. However, it caused quite a stir. That was because this was the first time someone of the younger generation had surpassed the Celestial Harp Maiden in terms of guqin. The fact that the noble daughter of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain, Feng Qingling, was crushed by a mysterious young master shocked many people. Within the imperial capital, many cultivators in the restaurants and tea houses were discussing this news. It's almost time for the eldest princess to choose her husband. All sorts of powerful geniuses have appeared. Yeah, that Feng Qingling of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain, who can be considered one of the most powerful in the younger generation, was defeated so easily. I really don't know what kind of freak will appear in the future. I'm looking forward to the arrival of the son of God of the Jun family. Unfortunately, I haven't heard any news about him. Let's continue to wait. I believe that the son of God of the Jun family will not let the champion marquis be so arrogant. In the eastern region of the imperial capital, there was a secluded and elegant villa. From time to time, faint sounds of guqin could be heard, causing people to shudder. The moon was high in the sky. Jun Xiaoyao, who was dressed in white, stepped out of the villa, followed by the reluctant Celestial Harp Maiden. Young master, it's already so late. Why don't you rest in the villa? The Celestial Harp Maiden's voice carried a trace of longing. She and Jun Xiaoyao were in the villa, playing the guqin and discussing the Tao. It was a comfortable and pleasant experience. She had never experienced such a feeling before. No, I still have matters to attend to. I'll take my leave first, Jun Xiaoyao said. Is that so? That's a pity. I hope that I'll have the chance to meet you again next time. The Celestial Harp Maiden's face dimmed. Jun Xiaoyao turned to leave, but the Celestial Harp Maiden called out to him. After talking for so long, you still don't know my name? The Celestial Harp Maiden asked, her eyes glowing. Becoming an immortal is easy, but Xiaoyao is difficult. I'll take my leave. Jun Xiaoyao left. Becoming an immortal is easy, but Xiaoyao is difficult. The Celestial Harp Maiden murmured. The Heavenly Zither Maiden muttered. Then, she looked as if she had been struck by lightning. Her beautiful eyes widened. So, it's that person. The Celestial Harp Maiden took a deep breath. Surprise, joy, and all sorts of emotions churned in her heart. She had actually talked to such a transcendent being alone for so long. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the void. I've already stayed for so long. Can that person still hold back? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flickered. Of course, he wasn't playing the zither and discussing Tao with the celestial harp maiden out of boredom. Apart from obtaining the 300 celestial sources, his most important goal was to set up a trap to deal with the third prince. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was thinking to himself, he suddenly realized that some of the noise around him seemed to have disappeared. Even the lights in the pavilions around the imperial capital had been completely extinguished. His surroundings were plunged into absolute darkness. Not even the chirping of insects or birds could be heard. Oh, he's here. Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows. It was obvious that he had fallen into an isolation array. At this moment, a shadow suddenly appeared behind Jun Xiaoyao. A blood-red sword stabbed toward Jun Xiaoyao's back. Tao integration stage. Jun Xiaoyao immediately determined that person's aura. Die. A hoarse voice came out from the shadow's mouth. The blood-red tip of the sword carried a fatal sharpness. Blood-kill swordsmanship. You're an assassin from the Hades heaven, Jun Xiaoyao said as he turned his body and slammed his palm toward the sword. The Hades heaven was a notorious assassin organization in the Huangtian mystic realm. As long as the price was high enough, they could assassinate anyone. They even dared to assassinate people from the imperishable orthodoxies. Foolish! Seeing Jun Xiaoyao block his sword with his palm, the assassin sneered. His cultivation level was already one level higher than Jun Xiaoyao's. Moreover, he was using a noble weapon to perform a top-level assassination swordsmanship. Under such circumstances, Jun Xiaoyao still fought back with his palm. In the assassin's eyes, this was beyond stupid. However, in the next moment, the Hades heaven assassin couldn't laugh anymore. Clang! A sound like metal clashing rang out. Jun Xiaoyao had shattered a noble weapon with his bare hands. Not only that, but his right arm was also surging with immortal aura. The 6 immortal bones of the great Luo boosted his strength at the same time. He threw out a punch, causing the void to tremble and ripples to appear. How is this possible? The assassin's eyes were filled with shock. Poof! Jun Xiaoyao's punch directly smashed the assassin into a bloody pulp. A rain of blood fell from the sky. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was still cold. After looking around, he said indifferently, "Come out. Why hide?" "Haha, I underestimated you, pray. Which imperishable orthodoxy are you the successor of?" In the darkness of the night, 4 figures appeared. In addition to the 3 black-robed men, there was also a blood-robed man. The blood-robed assassin from the Hades heaven was in the Nirvana realm. Full copy. Chapter 103. After reaching the Nirvana realm, one's entire body would transform. Not only would one's physical body be baptized by the fire seed, but the true spirit in the divine palace would also be baptized and become a primordial spirit. The Tao integration realm was about finding all kinds of spirit seeds and immortal seeds to fuse with one's Tao. The Nirvana realm was about finding fire seeds to baptize one's physical body and transform one's primordial spirit. Therefore, Nirvana realm cultivators would experience a qualitative change in their strength. They were definitely not something that Tao integration realm or unity realm cultivators could easily contend with. The assassins sent by the Hades heaven to assassinate Jun Xiaoyao were not only Tao integration realm cultivators, but there was also a Nirvana realm assassin in blood-red robes. It could be said that this was not something that any young prodigy could contend with. I admit that your strength is definitely beyond that of ordinary imperishable forces prodigies. However, do you still have room to struggle in this encirclement? The assassin in blood-red robes spoke in a raspy voice. Haven't you heard of a saying? Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. What? The assassin in blood-red robes' eyes sharpened. Villains die because they talk too much. As soon as Jun Xiaoyao finished speaking, the demon wings extended from his back. He moved and punched the nearest Tao integration realm assassin. The immortal bone in his arm glowed and swirled with immortal light. He punched out, and the surging fist wind seemed to be able to tear through space. The Tao Integration Realm assassin instinctively stabbed out with his sword as he sensed extreme danger. A loud clanging sound rang out. Without any suspense, the assassin was blasted apart by Jun Xiaoyao. Damn it, kill! The assassin in blood-red robes had a dark expression as he charged toward Jun Xiaoyao with the other two assassins. A blood-red sword projection swept through the air with an aura that made one shudder. Jun Xiaoyao turned around and grabbed at the air. Magic power surged and transformed into the spear of the underworld deity, which he hurled at one of the assassins. The spear of the underworld deity pierced through the void with extreme sharpness. It was also imbued with the terrifying power of 1 billion kilograms of divine power. This spear could literally pierce through heaven and earth. The assassin's face was filled with shock. Without any resistance, he was pierced through. The physical strength of an ordinary Tao Integration Realm expert was far less than 1 billion kilograms, or even less than 100 million kilograms. Death curse! When the remaining assassin saw this, all the hair on his body stood on end. Even though they had undergone training and had strong mental fortitude, they still couldn't help but feel terrified in the face of such a situation. This young supreme being, who was shrouded in immortal light, was simply a little monster that couldn't be understood with common sense. Therefore, the black-clothed assassin directly used a secret curse technique of the Nether Heaven in an attempt to trick Jun Xiaoyao. At the same time, the assassin in crimson clothes also attacked. Two crimson swords crossed each other, forming a cross that seemed to be able to cut through the void. It was an extremely powerful sword technique from the Netherworld Heaven, the cross-blood-killing technique. Jun Xiaoyao's expression remained solemn. The power of the secret curse technique fell on him, but it didn't cause any ripples. After all, Jun Xiaoyao's sacred body of the ancients was invulnerable to all evils. It was immune to all kinds of evil and dark forces. The power of the secret curse technique was also a dark force. Naturally, it couldn't affect Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao blasted out with his palm, pushing the assassin in black clothes horizontally. The assassin's body was violently split open, and blood splattered across the sky. You have a death wish. When the remaining assassin in crimson clothes saw this, a cold smile appeared on his face. His cross-blood-killing technique had already fallen in front of Jun Xiaoyao. At that moment, a slender greenish-golden armor suddenly condensed on the surface of Jun Xiaoyao's body. It shone with a cold and solid metallic luster. It was the Azure Sky Ancestral Dragon armor. Clang! The assassin in crimson clothes' attack landed on the armor, causing sparks to fly. However, it couldn't cause any damage to Jun Xiaoyao. How can this be? However, before the assassin in crimson clothes could be shocked, a divine sequence chain suddenly rushed out from Jun Xiaoyao's glabella. It turned into a golden short sword and rushed out. It was the primitive Emperor Tao sword. This move was too sudden. Coupled with the close distance, even the assassin in crimson clothes didn't have enough time to react and dodge. Puff! The assassin in crimson clothes' entire body was shattered by the primitive Emperor Tao sword. A ray of flowing light escaped from the divine palace in his mind. It was the assassin's primordial spirit. Do you think you can escape? Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and raised his hand. This assassin in crimson clothes was the key to his plan. The giant golden hand of magic power directly trapped the assassin's primordial spirit. Who paid you to kill me? Jun Xiaoyao asked. The assassin's primordial spirit was frightened, but he didn't say anything. Not revealing the identity and whereabouts of the buyer was an unspoken rule of any assassin organization. Jun Xiaoyao didn't care. He said faintly, "Actually, I know who it is even if you don't tell me. I just need to leave some evidence." After saying that, Jun Xiaoyao directly urged his soul power. Suddenly, a gigantic black millstone appeared in the void. It was stained with blood, as if it was stained with the blood of gods and demons. What is that? The assassin's primordial spirit felt a sense of fear and trembling from the bottom of his soul. If you don't say it yourself, then I'll let you have a taste of the primordial divine millstone crushing your soul, Jun Xiaoyao said. This primordial divine millstone was a technique he had developed through the primordial divine millstone visualization method. Jun Xiaoyao's soul was immune to the pain caused by the primordial divine millstone because he was a transmigrated soul. However, others didn't have this ability. The pain of the soul was millions of times worse than that of the physical body. The pain of the soul being crushed caused the assassin's primordial spirit to scream and shake. Jun Xiaoyao controlled his strength and didn't directly crush the assassin's primordial spirit. The pain of the soul being crushed by the primordial divine millstone was millions of times worse than death by 1,000 cuts. In the end, the assassin's primordial spirit couldn't take it anymore. Speak. Who bribed the Hades Heaven's assassins to assassinate me? Jun Xiaoyao's tone was indifferent. He took out the luster stone. This stone could record sound and images. It's the third prince of the Panwu Jin dynasty. The assassin's primordial spirit was extremely weak and weak. All right. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and put away the luster stone. Then, he used the primordial divine millstone to crush the assassin's primordial spirit. Playing with the luster stone in his hand, Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and said, "Third prince, oh third prince, I'm afraid you don't even know who the target of your assassination is, right? Bribing the Hades Heaven's assassins to assassinate the son of God of the Jun family of the primordial era. If this news spread, not only would the third prince be consigned to eternal damnation, even the entire Panwu Jin dynasty would be greatly implicated. The anger of the Jun family of the primordial era wasn't just for show. All of the immortal orthodoxies feared that their prodigies would be targeted by assassin organizations. Therefore, bribing assassin organizations was considered a taboo. The third prince didn't know how terrifying the identity of the person he wanted to assassinate was. If he knew Jun Xiaoyao's identity, he wouldn't have dared to do such a thing even if he was given 100 guts. After Jun Xiaoyao killed the Hades Heaven's assassin, the third prince was in a secret side hall of the Jin dynasty's imperial palace, waiting for news from the Hades Heaven. The entire book. Chapter 104. Trying to compete with me for a woman? You're too naive. The third prince sneered. Although he knew that the mysterious man was extraordinary, he could not take this lying down. Moreover, he was a prince of the immortal Jin dynasty and had a high status. He did not need to be afraid of the successor of an immortal force. Moreover, the assassins of the Hades Heaven would not reveal the identity of the buyer, regardless of the outcome. Therefore, even if the assassination failed, the third prince did not need to worry about his identity being exposed. Of course, the third prince did not know that Jun Xiaoyao had the Chaos Divine Grindstone. It's impossible to fail. The assassins we sent were all one level higher than that person. There were even Nirvana powerhouses who were 2 levels higher. The third prince's lips curled into a smile, full of confidence. At this moment, a hoarse voice transmission was heard. The assassination failed. The Hades Heaven will not act for a while. What? Hearing this, the third prince's expression suddenly changed. What happened? Or did a protector make a move? The third prince asked. The only possibility he could think of was that a path protector intervened. No, before they act, they should check and confirm, the voice said. So you're saying that a mere consolidation realm cultivator killed the path integration realm and nirvana realm assassins of the Hades Heaven? The third prince could not believe it. That's the truth. We've already alerted the enemy. We won't act for a while, and we won't return the reward. After saying this, the voice disappeared. The third prince was left with a gloomy expression. How could this be? Where did that person come from? Is he really so powerful? The third prince did not want to believe it. He had paid a huge price, but in the end, this was the result. He even suspected that the Hades heaven was just trying to fool him. However, although an assassin organization like the Hades heaven was cold-blooded and cruel, they valued credibility the most. If they did not have credibility, no one would look for them. The third prince's expression kept changing. He felt a sense of unease in his heart. It was as if he had caused a disaster. Could that person be? No, that's impossible. How could there be such a coincidence? Faintly, a name rose in the third prince's mind, but was immediately dispelled. That name was too terrifying. If it was really him, the third prince could not imagine what would happen to him. No, this prince must be overthinking things. Moreover, even if that Hades heaven assassin is dead, it's impossible for him to reveal my identity. The third prince seemed to be comforting himself. The imperial city, in a simple and quiet courtyard. Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged, refining the immortal origin he obtained. 300 immortal sources were enough for Jun Xiaoyao to refine another batch of origin immortal bones. That third prince is really pitiful. He lost his immortal source, lost his woman, and was even tricked by me. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head. The third prince was a pitiful man. However, when he thought about it, Xiao Chen, Ji Xian, the champion marquis, and the others who were his enemies also seemed to be pitiful. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself, that Xiao Chen should be coming to the imperial capital of the divine dynasty soon, right? He's going to put on a show of stealing the bride. I'd love to see him compete with the marquis champion. He also vaguely guessed that Xiao Chen's fate was not over yet. His appearance this time might bring about a great change. However, Jun Xiaoyao did not care. No matter how much Xiao Chen changed, it would be difficult for him to catch up to his shadow. On the other hand, Jun Xiaoyao hoped that Xiao Chen would become more powerful. Otherwise, it would not be so interesting when the time came. Now that the two chess pieces have been set, the Panwu Jin dynasty has no choice but to open the Panwu mausoleum to me. Next, I'll refine these immortal sources and wait for the banquet to begin. Jun Xiaoyao murmured and once again sank into cultivation. As the days passed, the day of Wu Mingyue's son-in-law selection was getting closer and closer. Forces from all over the world gathered at the Jin dynasty's imperial city like rivers flowing into the sea. In the sky there was a group of flying ancient beasts pulling a carriage, which rumbled and crushed the sky. The flag of the Jun family was placed on the carriage. The noise attracted the attention of countless people from all over the place. The Jun family of the ancients is here. The Jun family is really here. Is the Son of God among them? The Son of God of the Jun family subdued the nine-headed lion as a mount, but why don't I see him? Don't tell me he really didn't come? Many people looked surprised when they saw the Jun family's convoy. Everyone knew that the Son of God of the Jun family had the nine-headed lion pulling his carriage. However, there was no sign of the nine-headed lion at the moment. Inside the carriage, Jun Zhangjian and several other sequences sat together and discussed. The Son of God should be in the imperial city by now, right? Jun Zhangjian asked. He should be here, but the young master should have his own plans. We don't need to disturb him, Jun Linglong said. She was smart and knew that Jun Xiaoyao must have set off in advance because he had some kind of arrangement that made it inconvenient for him to bring them along. That's right. How can we understand the Son of God's thoughts? Jun Xuehuang said. But the words of the champion head are really annoying. Who gave him the courage to provoke the young master? Jun Wanjie's eyes flashed with lightning, and his tone was full of disdain. He had to admit that the marquis champion was by no means weak, but it would have been impossible for the marquis champion to crush Jun Xiaoyao. He's just a clown. When the time comes, the Son of God will be able to suppress him easily, Jun Xuehuang said. They all had great confidence in Jun Xiaoyao. At the gate of the imperial city. Stop. Why are you wrapped up so tightly? Take off your hood and let us check you, a guard at the gate said to a black-robed figure. They did not dare to stop Jun Xiaoyao and other transcendent geniuses from checking. But these civilian cultivators could not avoid being checked. The black-robed figure slowly took off his hood, revealing a delicate and handsome face. It was Xiao Chen. At this moment, Xiao Chen's face was full of determination and determination. Even the guards at the gate were intimidated by Xiao Chen's aura. Okay, go in. The guard swallowed and did not dare to say more. The aura that Xiao Chen vaguely revealed was not much different from that of the geniuses from the immortal forces. Success or failure depends on this. Xiao Chen clenched his fist. His pupils seemed to have turned as green as the heavens. There were also faint patterns of blue dragon light flowing under his skin. After being baptized by the supreme blood, Xiao Chen's strength improved by leaps and bounds. He directly broke through to the perfect consolidation realm. Not only that, but his spell of dragon transformation in blue heaven was also completely perfected with the help of the supreme blood. And the spell of dragon transformation in blue heaven was a supreme technique. In addition, he also learned and refined many martial arts of the blue dragon bloodline from the supreme blood. It could be said that Xiao Chen was now more than 100 times stronger than before. The improvement of his strength also gave Xiao Chen a lot of confidence. This time, I will marry Mingyu and become the emperor of the Panwu Jin dynasty. Whether it's the champion head or Jun Xiaoyao, they will all be under my feet. The final winner can only be me, Xiao Chen. The whole book. Chapter 105. Finally, half a month later, it was the day of the banquet. On this day, the entire imperial city seemed to be in an uproar. People from all the major forces were rushing to the Forbidden City in the center of the imperial city. Many people who were not qualified to attend the banquet also followed, even if it was just to watch the show from the outside. Many people were also very curious about who would get Wu Mingyue, the Pearl of the Divine Dynasty, in the end. The Forbidden City, the palace of the Panwu Jin dynasty. The magnificent Forbidden City was like an ancient heavenly court, with a majestic aura. The roof of the Jinkei Cloud Palace was covered with divine clouds and colorful lights. From afar, it looked like the palace of the Lingxiao Palace. It was said that great Emperor Panwu had ordered countless craftsmen to build the Forbidden City when he founded the Divine Dynasty. It was also a great symbol of the Panwu Jin dynasty. As for the Panwu Mausoleum, it was deep behind the Forbidden City. It was also an absolute forbidden area of the Jin dynasty. Anyone who approached it without permission would be killed without mercy. At this moment, a banquet was held in the Forbidden City. Countless delicacies were served by the palace maids. Many people from the top forces and the imperishable orthodoxies were gathered. In a hall in the Forbidden City, Wu Mingyue, dressed in a red dress, sat in front of a dressing table. There were a few maids next to her, who were tying up her hair. Wu Mingyue, dressed in a red dress, looked even more charming. Her eyes were watery, and her eyebrows were drawn like ink. Her smooth skin was lightly powdered, and there was a cinnabar pill in her mouth. She was incomparably beautiful. However, there was a hint of melancholy between her eyebrows that could not be removed. A maid who had been with her since she was a child saw this and said, "Your Highness, today is the day you choose your husband. You should be happy." Wu Mingyue heard this and shook her head slightly. "Sheer, how can I be happy if I can't choose my other half freely?" Wu Mingyue was wondering if Xiao Chen would come. In fact, she did not want Xiao Chen to come. Because even if Xiao Chen came, he could not change anything. Her royal father, God Lord Panwu, would never allow her to marry a minor character with no background. Unless Xiao Chen's talent was as monstrous as Jun Xiaoyao's, only then would he be valued. But was it possible? How many people in the entire Huangtian mystic realm could match Jun Xiaoyao in terms of talent? Xiao Chen was indeed very hard-working. But if hard work was of any use, then what was the point of having geniuses? Your Highness, you don't have to be too disappointed. Among those young elites, There might be someone who is worthy of your highness. Sheer comforted. Who is it? Could it be that Marquis champion? Wu Mingyue sneered. She knew that God Lord Pan Wu had always wanted her to marry the champion Marquis. This was because the champion Marquis had been recognized by the Pan Huang Life Spirit Sword. There was a slight possibility that he was the reincarnation of Great Emperor Pan Wu. Of course, even if that wasn't the case, it didn't matter. What God Lord Pan Wu wanted the most was for the champion Marquis to find the 3 swords of Pan Huang for him. The Pan Huang Life Spirit Sword was only one of the 3 Pan Huang swords. Other than that, there was also the Coiling Emperor Time Sword and the Coiling Emperor Void Sword. It was rumored that when the 3 Pan Huang swords were combined, they could become Great Emperor Pan Wu's Tao-proving Emperor Weapon, the Pan Huang Sword. Emperor weapons were also known as Ancient Emperor Weapons, Great Emperor Weapons, and Extreme Emperor Weapons. They were the weapons of the ancient great emperors and possessed great power. Once the emperor weapon was used, it could shatter the 9 heavens and the universe. It could destroy the 8 starfields. It could cross the universe and kill billions of living beings. To put it in an unimaginable way, the deterrent power of an emperor weapon was equivalent to nuclear weapons. Generally speaking, immortal orthodoxies that had supreme great emperors in their ancestors all had emperor weapons. The Panwu Jin dynasty also had one. But later on, the Pan Huang sword was divided into 3. The Panwu Jin dynasty experienced a lot of turmoil, and in the end, the 3 swords of Pan Huang were lost. It was not until Yang Pan obtained the Pan Huang Life Spirit Sword that the Panwu Jin dynasty regained hope. It was because of this that God Lord Pan Wu thought so highly of Yang Pan and directly conferred him the title of Marquis Champion. This caused Yang Pan to become even more arrogant. He was lawless in the entire Panwu Jin dynasty, like a local tyrant. When Xie heard the words Marquis Champion, a hint of disgust flashed in her eyes. The reputation of the Marquis Champion was too terrible. Your Highness, there's no need to be sad. Maybe there's someone who can suppress the Marquis Champion. As Xie spoke, a look of yearning suddenly appeared on her face. You mean? Wu Mingyue said. That's right. Of course it's the Jun family's son of God. Rumor has it that he was born like an immortal. His personality is good, his strength is strong, and his background is unparalleled. He's simply the most perfect person in Xie-er's heart. Xie-er was incomparably longing, and her eyes were filled with little stars. Good personality? An immortal-like existence? Wu Mingyue's jade face tensed up. Another ignorant girl who had been led astray. How was Jun Xiaoyao an immortal? He was simply a devil who ate people without spitting out the bones. He did not have the slightest bit of pity for her, and even used despicable methods to coerce her into becoming a slave. Until now, Wu Mingyue had been guarding this secret to the death. Don't mention him anymore. Wu Mingyue's expression was slightly cold. Oh. Seeing that Wu Mingyue's expression was not right, Xie-er tactfully shut her mouth. She thought that Wu Mingyue was unhappy because of the Marquis Champion. I hope he doesn't come. Wu Mingyue prayed in her heart. Otherwise, when the time came, she really did not know how to face Jun Xiaoyao. At the same time, in a quiet courtyard with a pleasant scenery in the imperial capital, the immortal mist was faint and the multicolored light lingered. A divine aura pervaded the air. In the courtyard, Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged on the ground. The flowers and plants around him seemed to be nourished, bright, and lush. And Jun Xiaoyao's aura was even more transcendent. His right arm seemed to be branded with immortal runes, as if it was the arm of an immortal. In the distance, Ji Yanran looked at Jun Xiaoyao with a face of surprise, and her heart was shocked. That kind of scene was too amazing. On the side, the 9-headed lion, who had transformed into a 9-headed Shiba Inu, was lying lazily on the ground, eating spirit beast meat. Young Master's aura is too terrifying, Ji Yanran exclaimed. Master is a monster. This kind of scene is not strange at all, the nine-headed lion replied lazily. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's body shook slightly, and he also ended his cultivation. In front of him, there was a pile of immortal sources that had lost their spirituality. Not bad. I've tempered 14 Daluo immortal bones. Together with the 6 from before, I have exactly 20 now, Jun Xiaoyao whispered. His right arm, including the wrist, palm, and finger bones, had a total of 20 bones that had been tempered into Daluo immortal bones. Compared to before, the power had definitely increased by a lot. It's still a bottomless pit. If only I could find a fat and oily leak. Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. However, he thought for a while and did not find a suitable candidate for the time being. As for Yi Xingyun, Jun Xiaoyao did not care about this insignificant character at all. He also did not know that Yi Xingyun had changed so much. The banquet is about to start. Jun Xiaoyao got up and walked over to Ji Yanran and the nine-headed lion. Let's go, Jun Xiaoyao said. Where are you going, young master? Ji Yanran asked. The Imperial Palace, the Forbidden City. I'm going to meet you, Jun Xiaoyao said with a deep look in his eyes. Meet you? Ji Yanran was puzzled. At this moment, the nine-headed lion did a somersault and rose into the air. Golden light surged and shook the sky. All the cultivators within a 10-mile radius were stunned. In the divine light, a majestic nine-headed lion appeared and roared at the sky. Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the void and sat cross-legged on the nine-headed lion. Why, aren't you coming with me? This son of God said that you might look forward to it. Jun Xiaoyao looked down at Ji Yanran. Ji Yanran, who was on the ground, was rooted to the spot like a clay statue. It was as if she had lost her soul. Young master is the son of God of the Jun family? Ji Yanran covered her pink lips with her hand and could not help but cry out. Blood rushed to her head and her pretty face flushed red. Her head was dizzy, and she almost fainted from excessive surprise and excitement. The complete book. Chapter 106. In Ji Yanran's eyes, Jun Xiaoyao was a figure that only existed in legends. Now that Ji Yanran knew Jun Xiaoyao's true identity, she was rooted to the spot. This was too dreamy, too unrealistic. Why are you standing there like a fool? Jun Xiaoyao asked. Qin. Ji Yanran greets Lord Son of God. Ji Yanran stuttered and bowed to Jun Xiaoyao. All right, come on up. Jun Xiaoyao waved his hand. He was used to this kind of humble and respectful attitude. Ji Yanran was nervous and excited. Her face was red as she jumped onto the back of the nine-headed lion. The nine-headed lion could be big or small. It could carry 100 people without a problem. Ji Yanran stood behind and looked at Jun Xiaoyao with respect and admiration. Don't worry, Yang Pan will pay the price, Jun Xiaoyao said lightly. He didn't want to avenge Ji Yanran. He just wanted to take advantage of Yang Pan. But in Ji Yanran's eyes, this was revenge for her. Thank you, Lord Son of God. Ji Yanran's voice was trembling. Others might not be able to defeat the Marquis champion. But Ji Yanran believed that Jun Xiaoyao could do it. When the cultivators who were attracted by the nine-headed lion saw the transcendent figure standing on the nine-headed lion, their eyes widened and they sucked in a deep breath. Is that the son of God of the Jun family? Yes, he is. He has the ability to tame the nine-headed lion and make it his mount. And his aura is so strong. There is no one else other than the son of God of the Jun family. Hiss. Someone said that the son of God of the Jun family was afraid of the Marquis champion. Who would have thought that the son of God was already here? I'm afraid the son of God doesn't care about the Marquis champion at all. In all directions there was an uproar. Many curious, passionate, worshipful, and surprised gazes fell upon Jun Xiaoyao in unison. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head slightly. Sometimes being too famous was also a kind of trouble. The nine-headed lion carried Jun Xiaoyao and Qin Xian into the sky. Jun Xiaoyao looked into the distance in the direction of the Forbidden City. The Marquis of Champion has been jumping around for so long. It's time to give him a slap and wake him up to reality, Jun Xiaoyao said with his hands behind his back. Imperial Palace, Forbidden City. The four forces had gathered, and the atmosphere was extremely noisy. From time to time, forces would arrive and take their seats. At this moment, two phoenix cries suddenly resounded in the sky. Two dazzling golden phoenixes pulled two carriages across the void. That's Myriad Phoenix Spirit Mountain. Many cultivators raised their heads and looked over. As a top Archean royalty on par with Zulong, the prestige and deterrence of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain was no less than the former. Two red streams of light flashed out of the chariots. They were Huang Xuanyi and Feng Qingling. Both of them had wings on their back. Feng Qingling's skin was snow-white, and her red eyes were crystal clear. Her expression was cold, and she was not very good-looking. Obviously, she was still brooding over what had happened in the immortal Jade Tower. That kind of embarrassing experience was like a nightmare for a noble lady like her. Huang Xuanyi, on the other hand, was wearing a red robe with wings on his shoulders. He looked very handsome, and there was a red mark between his eyebrows. It was very mysterious. It's Huang Xuanyi and Feng Qingling. These two are quite famous geniuses of the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain. But I heard that Feng Qingling was taught a lesson by a mysterious genius in the immortal Jade Tower. Shoo, keep your voice down. Don't let others hear you. Disaster will befall you, a cultivator hurriedly warned. Nothing good would come out of offending the 10,000 Phoenix Spirit Mountain. Feng Qingling heard the faint discussion, and her face turned even uglier. Qingling, with your strength, you shouldn't have been defeated so easily, Huang Xuanyi said. That guy's physical strength is even more terrifying than our Archean royalty. Feng Qingling's tone was full of resentment. Do you think it could be the son of God of the Jun family, who has the sacred body of the ancients? Huang Xuanyi guessed. Huang Xuanyi couldn't think of any physique more terrifying than the Archean royalty, except for a few physiques such as the sacred body of the human race. The son of God of the Jun family? Feng Qingling's delicate body suddenly trembled. She didn't think of it before because she heard that Jun Xiaoyao didn't come to the Jin dynasty in Panwu. Moreover, it was impossible that everyone with a strong physical body was Jun Xiaoyao. But now that Feng Qingling thought about it carefully, she felt that it was not impossible. It seems that it's most likely, Huang Xuanyi said. If it's really him, then the son of God of the Jun family is even more terrifying than the rumors say. Feng Qingling was very afraid. When they first left Wanhuang Spirit Mountain, they said that Jun Xiaoyao would be at a disadvantage if he underestimated them. But now, Feng Qingling was the one who suffered a big loss. Don't worry. When the time comes, let me meet Jun Xiaoyao, Huang Xuanyi said in a calm tone. His eyes seemed to be burning with a scarlet gold flame. As the top genius of Wanhuang Spirit Mountain, when had he ever been afraid of anyone? Xuanyi, you must help me get revenge, Feng Qingling said through gritted teeth. Until now, her jade-like arm was still aching. The two of them talked and went to the VIP seat. In another sky, a carriage came through the air. Seeing the flag on the carriage, many people were surprised. The Yi family of the ancients is here. Two figures flashed out of the carriage. It was Yi Xingyun and his old servant, Uncle Fu. Uncle Fu looked at Yi Xingyun with a hint of relief. Ever since Yi Xingyun suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of Jun Xiaoyao, he seemed to have become a different person after returning to the Yi family. He was in seclusion all day, immersing himself in cultivation. His personality was also much more mature than before, washing away the arrogance and impulsiveness of a young man. Jun Xiaoyao, will you show up? Yi Xingyun muttered to himself. Not long after Yi Xingyun and the others took their seat. On the other side, flying ancient beasts pulled a chariot again. That's the Wang family of the northern region. Some people from the major forces widened their eyes. The Wang family of the northern region was located in the northernmost part of the Huangtian mystic realm. It was a famous clan of the ancients in the northern region, occupying more than 30 prefectures. It was known as the overlord of the northern region. The Wang family of the northern region is here. Is the young emperor of the Wang family here to compete for the position of the prince consort? Some cultivators looked over. The most famous member of the Wang family of the northern region was their genius, the young emperor of the Wang family, Wang Ting. He was a man who was described by his father as having the bearing of a great emperor. Wang Ting rarely entered the world. He spent most of his time in seclusion. However, every time he entered the world, there would be a group of geniuses challenging him. In the end, no one was a match for Wang Ting. Therefore, Wang Ting's name began to spread throughout the Huangtian mystic realm. Tisk Tsk. If the young emperor of the Wang family is here this time, it will be interesting. Yeah. Son of God, young emperor, marquis champion. Which one of them isn't amazing? Many people were looking forward to the clash between the son of God of the Jun family, the young emperor of the Wang family, and the marquis champion of the Jin dynasty. Recommended reading. Load file 2013.